Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. This is the Mgtow Cowboy. Greetings and salutations. Today we will hopefully have a very special Mgtow panel discussion. I am armed with a sawed-off shotgun. Or no, wait, no. I mean, I am here today with Polska Bob. Polska Bob is co-hosting the stream with me. And so the goal is to, I contacted probably at least a dozen Mgtow gentlemen. I wanted to have a Mgtow interview session, a sweat hotel version. So it's like a taxi cab confessions. I want to hear all the dirty little secrets, the lies, the cheating, the scheming, the scamming, the backstabbing, the plotting,
whores, the drug deals,
the whores, the back alley deals, all of it. I want to hear all of it. And Polska Bob is here with me. He'll be co-hosting. So I did contact what's his name, Mr. Elite. I'm sure all of you remember Mr. Elite. He said he was interested. I've also contacted Mgtow Savior, Red Mind Man. What was it? Mgtow Infinium. Dion Dadley, or aka Mgtow, the Mgtow Bandit, a host of others. Mgtow Farmer. I'm sorry, there's too many to label. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Let's see, who do we have here?
We got Twice here, Mgtow Outlaws here. Does Mgtow Outlaw have pants on?
Oh, right, that's a good question. I don't know if Mgtow Outlaw is wearing pants, so you'll have to ask him.
Indian Mgtow's here, Sage is here, Fabian is here.
All right, Fabian Farino, what's up?
Friday Fury, Mouth Ape Grape is here. Hello, guys.
If anyone wants to call in, please feel free. I dropped the link, and so part of the reason why Bob is here, Polska Bob is here, is because I am not very tech literate, and the goal was part of an ancillary goal was to get on the internet using my super advanced computer. It's got like all these colors and lights in the goddamn computer.
This thing is pretty sweet, cowboy.
Yeah, but I don't know how to use it. The only thing I know how to do is there's only two things I know how to do with it. That's check email and look at porn. But I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, the goal was to not just have a Mgtow meetup or a panel discussion. It was also to try to hand out some wrenches, although it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that today. Polska Bob failed again, frankly. So, but no, I'm kidding. It's actually not his fault at all. But I blame people when I mess up and I can't fix my own problems. Anyway, let's see. I just dropped the link. If anyone wants to jump in, you could actually help me. I have reason to believe that I'm actually not kidding right now. I have reason to believe that Bob may have written down the link wrong. I'm not sure.
Here. Red Man Mind is here.
Oh, really? Is Red Man Mind here?
Yeah, they're all coming in.
Oh, very good. Okay. Yeah. If anyone, please call in. Please call in. It's here, let's get started. Go ahead, Bob. Take over for a second.
Yes, I did have one job, and I failed it.
I'm kidding. Bob isn't really at fault, but I'm going to blame him anyway. I literally could not remember some like 10-year-old password. So, oh well.
Yes, we are looking at feed pics. Scotty sent us some feed pics. But good to see all you guys here in here. Glad to be co-hosting with Cowboy again. This is our second one, so welcome to the waffling hour.
Yes, the hour of power. You want some spaghetti or no?
No, I'm good, Cowboy. There's a pork chop in every beer, guys. I'm trying to think if anybody popped in yet.
Yeah, give it a minute.
Let's get some of these comments up. We'll go through them.
Okay. So what are you guys up to? What's good? What's exciting?
I'm just going through the comments here on the screen, Cowboy.
Sure. We bought a couple brews, got a couple cold beers in the freezer,
What jumped?
but unfortunately, I did not. They were not chilled when we bought them. Oh, well, Bob's were, mine were not. So I'm not boozing yet. So it's terrible. All right, let's see. Looks like we have our first guest in. Oh, let's see who we have here. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, Red Mind Man. Red Mind Man, I'm going to add you to the stream in 3, 2, 1. There you go. Oh, look who it is. It's also I see Monk. I see Mgtow Monk also in the backstage. Mgtow Monk, I'm about to bring you on also. 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. At the stream. That should work.
How's my audio? I'm
Okay,
trying to work on
appears to be
that.
working.
You sound good.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to get my headpiece in to see if that works. So,
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes. The two of you both are coming in so far very good.
Great.
Yeah, right. It's a pleasure to have you guys, Red Mind Man and Mgtow Monk. How are you guys? What's new? What's exciting?
Oh, just living the life, enjoying another bachelor week. So,
Right. Or in your case, it's interesting. I guess you are a bachelor, but I would a more technical term I would use to describe you is a divorcee. Is that fair to say?
that's fair. That's fair. We'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah. So again, I contacted probably in excess of 12 people. I thought half of them said that they would show. So so I do this thing where I actually like to interview at least 2 or 3 people at a time. So we can get started now. Do either one of you want to get started first? And sort of how I do it is like I start with like a bunch of like quick fire questions, like who, what, when, where, why, how old are you, what do you do, what's your vocation, who wants to start?
Yeah, I can go for it.
Okay, yeah, Red Mind Man, please introduce your. You have 2 minutes. You have 4 minutes. Please introduce yourself to everyone. Who are you? Where are you from? Of course, I know a little bit more about you than maybe everyone. Most people probably know who you are, but I'm assuming at this point I usually get like I don't know between 100 and 200 views per video. Maybe some people don't know who you are. Can you talk? Give us your life story in less than 10 minutes.
that's a
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my channel is Red Mind Man. It's not Red Man Mind or whatever else. I didn't realize that was a tongue twister when I created my channel.
Yeah, no, I'm
Anyway.
sorry. I'm very hungover today.
It's all good. Yeah.
I him on last night.
I started my channel January 1st, 2021. So it's a pretty new channel, around 600 or 700 subscribers. Just put up my 61st video. So pretty new channel, but long time lurker. I lurked in the Mgtow community actually when I was still married, in a pretty bad situation there that's now been over for about 2.5 years. I in my blue pill days made the blunder of getting married to a quote unquote conservative Christian girl who happened to have borderline personality disorder, or BPD. And so that thing went down the tubes pretty quick. It was I think 5 weeks in when the physical violence, her to me, started. And I stayed in that relationship for about 4 years. So yeah, I've been kind of putting up videos, just trying to share my experiences with other guys, really with the intent not necessarily of growing a big channel, but rather just to help guys, because I know that I benefited from some of those more small time channels that guys would just be real and talk, and they would tell about their their difficulties and whatnot, and just their own personal thoughts on things. So since that's what I benefited from most, that's kind of what I decided to do myself. And yeah, here I am. Just a
Okay,
regular
if I
guy.
can ask you some, if I can ask you some rapid fire questions, how old
Yeah.
are you?
30.
30. Okay, you're relatively young. What part
Yep.
of the? I'm assuming you're from the states. What part of the states are you from?
Yep, I'm from the U.S. I'm from Nebraska, so
Very good. And what's your
smack in the
address?
center of the U.S.
What's your security number?
You keep credit card number?
All right.
Say it
Okay.
again.
So you're from Nebraska. You're 30. You got a kid. What kind of work do you do?
I'm in the automotive industry, work in manufacturing.
Okay. Very good.
Cool.
Are you university set? If I thought I remember you saying you went to college.
Yeah, I went to a small college and got my degree. Nothing too fancy though, so just kind of have a business focus.
What was your major?
Business administration.
Oh, right. Okay. Very good. Have you done any traveling abroad?
Never outside the U.S., but I've been on both coasts and quite a few places in between. So
Good. Good. Great.
it's kind of something I'd like to do once I get a little more freedom and my little boy is a little bigger. I'd like to maybe try Mexico, start small, you know.
Sure. Right. Right. Baby steps first. Right.
How old is your
Absolutely. He is 4.
son? And he's divorced, right? What's your custody situation? Do you have full custody, 50-50?
Yeah, it's 50-50. Unfortunately, full custody was kind of shooting the moon in my situation.
Most of the time it is.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
said
you got to have
you said,
pretty damning
said you're
evidence to get that.
Yeah, I suppose now is a good time for you to get into it. Of course, I've listened to the majority of your videos. I remember some of the egregious, highly antisocial, and criminal behavior of your wife. I remember one video you were talking about how I think you had purchased a standard transmission truck. You were very happy about driving this truck, and it's standard and it's cool. When I say standard, I mean stick shift, of course. And didn't your wife lean over and like hit you, or she started to assault you? You almost could have gotten into a crash. It was like a high speed interstate situation.
Yeah. So it was back when. So I was trying to salvage the marriage, mostly for the kid at that point. So I was going to this marital counseling. So I'd take my lunch break, and I had a decent boss at the time who would he would accommodate me and basically let me have a kind of a long lunch break. So I'd come home on my lunch break, and this particular time I came home, she had been home doing God knows what because she was a stay-at-home mom at the time. And I kind of go in more detail on my own channel about that specific instance. But basically, what happened was we were late, and I was a little frustrated at her, but nothing crazy. Just kind of like, why the heck aren't you ready? You've had all morning, And shortly after that, I think she spilled coffee or something on my seat, which was frustrating.
That was a brand new truck at the time. I could imagine.
Right. Yeah. So it's an old truck. So we're sitting on this bench seat, right? And I'm driving. It's a stick shift. It's kind of I hadn't driven much stick shift, so I was still kind of rough on it. And we're just entering onto the freeway and on the on-ramp. And there's a semi behind me, big old loaded semi. And right as we're merging into the rightmost lane on the freeway, with the semi right behind us, she just decides to start unloading punches right in the side of my head with our at the time, like, I don't know, 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old. And I'm like shifting gears to get up to speed, and she's punching me in the head, and my little boy's just learning to talk, and he's saying, stop. So yeah,
Wow.
it was pretty hardcore. that was kind of the event for me that uh, I guess you could say sort of broke me. Like it just like killed the relationship for me. At that point on, I didn't really feel anything for her other than disgust, you could say.
Now, is she physically abusive more than that?
Oh yeah. Check out my
This
channel.
wasn't the only incident, I take it?
Not at all. Nope. I went into kind of morbid detail on my channel about that. I put up a playlist. If you check it out, it's called My Story. And I basically have like 3 hours of uh, dull monologuing.
You know what? I haven't binged your channel yet, but I am sub to you, so I'll get around to your videos eventually, and stories like that, and we all gotta hear it, right?
Well, heck yeah, there you go, man. Yeah,
Was
so
she,
it was a pretty wild time, no doubt.
was she at least good in bed?
Well, it's funny, you think that people who have the mental illnesses like that are probably like pretty, they get around before marriage and all that kind of thing. But funny enough, she was a virgin when we got married, so it's not like she was super experienced or anything. But yeah, sometimes things got a little crazy in the sack. I won't lie.
So you stuck your dick in crazy is what happened.
Well, here's the thing, though. So this is true. As much as it might sound like I'm making an excuse, borderline personality disorder typically manifests itself when someone's in their early to mid 20s. And I got married to her young, so she was like early 20s. And hindsight is always 20/20, like they say. So I can see it clearly now, but I really think that her disorder really started to manifest itself hardcore right after I tied the knot. I always say tied the knot around my neck because I don't want to make it sound like it's a good thing.
More like tied the noose around your neck. Was she taking any medication for that or getting any treatment?
She was never officially diagnosed. I only found out about borderline personality after she had already filed for divorce, like 4 years after we got married. So my therapist I was going to during the divorce proceedings basically said she's a quote textbook case unquote of borderline personality disorder. When I gave him the kind of 30,000 foot view of what happened.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interject, but just because you bring it up, I was having a conversation a couple of days ago with Angler Mgtow, and I was expressing to him that I am of the opinion that there's actually no such thing as some of these. Well, frankly, I believe. Have you ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Stefan Molyneux?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I find him to be a brilliant character. And he words it this way. He says that, yes, it is true. There is such a thing as brain damage. And I use the example of Phineas Gage. Phineas Gage was a man who suffered an accident. A spike went through his head. It literally it entered below his mandible, so like his lower jaw, and it came out, the crown of his head. It went through his brain. And all the people that knew him, they denoted how they recounted the fact that his demeanor changed. He became quick to anger. When before the accident, he was very affable, very easy to get along with. Almost like Tourette's. He started, swearing a lot. He would swear like a sailor. He became aggressive, easily riled up. So the point I'm trying to make is, I think that brain damage does exist. However, I also think that on the contrary, the psychologists, they talk about, bipolar disease, BPD, histrionic disorder. I'm sort of the opinion of, what's his name? Sorry, I just said it. Stefan Molyneux. Excuse me, I'm a little hungover from yesterday. Basically, a lot of these disorders don't necessarily exist. He basically, and I think I've said this to you before on one of your streams or on one of your videos. I think that's the definition of evil. I think, yeah, right. Sorry. Anyway, Polska Bob is starting trouble in the background. Sorry. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, no, I don't know. I don't know that your ex-wife has some sort of disorder. I think essentially she's evil. She knows what she was doing was wrong. She knows what she was doing was wrong when she was doing it. She just didn't care. That's what I think, and that has nothing personal against you, but that's what I think.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. I mean, I guess, we could theorize all day long about what it actually is. It's in a way, the whole model of mental disorders is just kind of a useful model to categorize people with certain characteristics. So, I mean, if you go look at like the 9 traits of borderline personality disorder, she had like all of those, like hardcore. Like I have crazy stories.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You cut out. You cut out for a second. What did you say? The 9 what?
Yeah. So if you go look up the 9 traits of borderline personality disorder.
Oh, you're like talking about according to the DSM. Okay.
Correct. Yep. So if you go look that up, she basically had all of those hardcore, and I have like a crazy story I could tell about each one.
Sure.
So, so I guess I agree in theory, like we don't know what causes it or what's driving it per se, but yeah, it's more or less just a useful model to categorize crazy people or evil, as you say.
I can actually explain that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You seem to have cut out again.
No,
are you there?
Yeah, I lost it, and I was just kept my mic on mute because I was trying
hello?
to. I was listening. That not working now?
Hello.
I can hear you, Monk.
Oh, okay. Somebody can hear me. But yeah, the 9 traits are actually all the problems she's having is very explainable.
Connection. Guys, can you let me know in the? Oh, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Cowboy.
Red can hear me, and I can hear Cowboy.
Yeah, I can hear him, and I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. For a second, you had cut out Red Mind Man. Yeah, no, it's very sad. Again, I've watched not all, probably most. I've probably watched I don't know, 3 out of every 4 of your videos. I caught most of them. Your story is, frankly, it's tragic. I mean, if I remember correctly, you sort of come off as like this straight-laced, Midwestern, hardworking. You don't use drugs. You don't party. You don't whore. You don't gamble. You were conservative. Parents are conservative. You thought you met this girl. This whole like white picket fence thing. Next thing you know, this woman, she basically destroyed your life. She told every lie about you. Didn't she steal? Was it her? Was it her and her and the mother? I can't remember. Didn't she clean out like thousands and thousands of dollars from your bank account? Can you tell that story?
Yeah. So I basically found out that she was like leaving when I checked my bank account and $15,000 was gone. So it was pretty wild. So basically what had happened was, so we had been going to marital counseling for 40 some weeks. So 40 some sessions. So that's about a year, going every week. And I'll give a little context here so it makes sense. But basically, towards the end of that time, I'd say about 4 months before she ended up filing for divorce, things actually started to seem like they were getting better. And I thought that based on the fact that her behavior started to not be so severe. But in reality, I think what had happened was she had actually just given up on the relationship completely. And so she wasn't, quote unquote, fighting for it anymore. So she had just given up, and that's what I perceived as. What was that?
He said she was planning her exit. She filed against you, right?
Yeah, she totally was. So anyway, trying to think here. So yeah, so things had kind of improved for 4 months, and I was like, maybe things were actually going to get better. And one of the things that the counselor had said was, if things start to escalate, then one of you has to leave the apartment just to maintain some level of safety. And initially, I had been the one to leave like almost every time. And then honestly, I just kind of got sick of it. It's like I'm paying for this place. I have a little kid. When I come home from work, I want to be able to see my little kid. So you can, get the F out. I don't want to have to be the one always leaving and missing time with my son. So I kind of just, in some cases, just sort of dug my heels in and said, no, you can leave. And like I said, I'd kind of lost, I guess you could say, feeling for her at that point. So that's what happened. I came home one night. This was like 4 days before she left for good. I came home and it was like clockwork. It was like within 20 to 30 minutes after I walk in the front door, I knew there was going to be something that was going to start sizzling, so to speak. And then by about 8 p.m., there was going to be some big fight. That was like the way it worked. So it was about 5:30 and I was wanting to hang out with my son. And so I basically told her to get lost because she was starting drama already. Well, she did get lost, and that was the last time. So she left, stayed out super late, and I finally drifted off to sleep in the wee hours of the morning. And then next morning I wake up, my son's sleeping in the other room, and I just get this text on my phone. It's like I'm leaving. You can take our son to your parents. I'm sure he'll be in good hands there. And that was about it. And I had to be at work in like 45 minutes. Right. So I was scrambling, trying to look for childcare and all that. Anyway, so she had actually gone to the bank that day and withdrew a bunch of money for plane tickets and then flew out of state. So I was like trying to work and care for my son while she's just unexplainably gone. And then like within 24 hours, she actually flew back, then took our son from me, and her parents and my in-laws, they were all like super supportive and like, oh, we love you guys. We want you to stay married. We support the marriage, blah, blah, blah. Well, when she came back, like in less than 24 hours, the narrative switched completely. Yeah. And they all like completely ghosted me, didn't talk to me. And to this day, I've only talked to like one person since then who was pretty far removed from the situation.
Betrayal, that betrayal, that leaves a deep emotional scars, I do believe.
Yeah, that's awful, man.
Yeah. So then she took my son. She wouldn't let me see him. And then in the couple days that before I got the divorce paperwork, she had gone to the bank with her dad because we only had the one vehicle because she had totaled hers. And so she was basically relying on her parents for all transportation at that point. And so they literally drove her to my bank and
to steal your money.
Basically like I had cashed out of my retirement account to buy a house. So I had a chunk of change sitting in that account, and her dad helped her withdraw half of it. And then I spent the other half trying to keep my son in my life over the next year or so. So totally broke me, like financially. Went from pretty stable and really well off comparatively speaking, and then all the way down to like negative net worth.
And if I remember correctly, after watching your videos, you had stipulated that you were very responsible.
Yeah, never. I mean, I grew up in a pretty religious home, so I wasn't allowed to like do any of the partying or anything like that. So yeah, I just kind of grew up without, like, the first time I ever drank alcohol was, I think, when I was like 23 or something.
Oh yeah, Bob too. Bob, he waited till he was. Bob, when did you have your first drink? Sorry, that's a bad joke.
Yeah, so I was honestly, I was just super naive, and I wasn't wise to the worldly ways, and I just got completely ruined by the divorce in financial terms. Luckily, I did still retain access to my son, but yeah, that's partly because I she didn't have anything on me. Like literally 1 month before she left, to the day, she had posted some big post, like lavishing praise on me for how good of a dad I was and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it was to this day, it's like, I think back, and the best way I've been able to make heads or tails of it is just to accept the fact that, like, rather than try to make sense of the situation, I just accepted the fact that none of it made sense. And that that was the bottom line, was that it just didn't make sense. Like nothing matched up, you know, at the end of the day. Because on paper, I should have been one of those guys who like had a successful marriage, you know, on paper. But not the case at all.
Right. No, it's the conundrum with betrayal. It doesn't make any sense. It's never going to make sense. You know, she's supposed to trust you, and you're supposed to trust her with everything. Next thing you know, this woman is literally conspiring against you.
Yeah, I mean, I counted her father as like a quasi mentor figure, and 36 hours before he helped her take all, like basically, essentially all my money. 36 hours prior to that, he said to my face, he's like, well, it doesn't sound like you've done anything that I haven't done in the past as far as like mistakes go. Like he was basically trying to affirm me and say like, you know, whatever the problem is, it doesn't sound like it's something that can't be fixed. And then a sister-in-law was like talking about, you know, how they just love both of us and support us. And then literally about 3 days later, she was recording me trying to get me to snap on tape so that they could take it to court and take my son from me forever. I mean, it's kind of bizarre to even talk about it, honestly, because I can't, it's just hard to fathom in a way.
It sounds awful. And they gave her 50-50. After stealing, she stole your money, and they still give her 50-50 custody.
Yeah, she knew how to manipulate and look really good. Like she's pretty high functioning, so she can come off as like a gregarious, pretty normal, happy-go-lucky type of person. But when you get close to her, she's the type of person that she'll hit you, she'll slam the doors literally off their hinges, and then she'll say, if you call the cops, I'll hit myself and tell them you did it.
Oh, that's awful.
And I literally have video of her. Like it's not you can't see her because the bathroom door is closed, but you can hear the audio in the video recording I have, where she's locked herself in the bathroom and she's hitting herself like slapping herself on the face, making red marks, so that if the cops come and I tell them what she did, then she'll lie and say I did that to her.
Now,
like that got really twisted.
Was there any actual like a Duluth model incident where she did call you and you were in jail overnight or anything like that?
I never got taken to jail, but it came really close a couple different times. Like I got escorted from my apartment after she slammed our bedroom door off its hinges, like pulled screws out of the wall. And 2 cops escorted me to my vehicle. So I got escorted from the house after she lost it, basically. But see, I was at a disadvantage because I'm a big guy, and so I'm literally twice her size. And so when the cops show up, you know, if my voice sounded upset from her hitting me, then I could pretty much just count on going to jail.
Yeah, it's a near guarantee of going to jail.
Yeah.
You know, again, I've listened to many of your videos, and I do find, in my personal opinion, that you almost go too easy under, like, for example, I'm talking to you right now. You're talking about how she is in the bathroom, purposely, you know, whatever, hitting herself or, you know, accosting herself so that she will appear the victim. I literally see that as pure evil. You used the word a couple minutes ago. You said it's twisted. It's twisted. I think it's worse than twisted. I think she knows.
Diabolical. Diabolical.
Sure. But the point I wanted to make is, you know, I think a lot of people make excuses for women. They say, like, you know, oh, you know, she's just having a bad day, or she, she's difficult, she's feisty. No, no. This is antisocial and criminal behavior. I think
agree,
our
it is
society is
criminal. Yeah.
oh, it's definitely criminal. She stole money from you.
Yeah, she robbed you.
Yeah. No, I don't know what to say. When I was 21 years old, 21, 22, I can't remember. I was at my oldest sister's house, and my mom had recently bought this like Nordic track thing. I'm trying out this little machine, and one of my sisters comes up to me from behind, and she attempts to sodomize me with her two fingers. I suppose as a yes, yes. I suppose as a joke, some sort of sick joke. But you can ask any psychologist, you can ask any clinical psychologist worth their worth their salt. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Can you turn that off? Yeah, sexual displays of sexual dominance between family members is a classic sign of sociopathy. I think that there's a oh yeah. Oh no, it's bad. It's terrible stuff. So when I think of your wife, I think of like the worst type of individual. Literally, someone that I wouldn't even want to be stuck in an elevator with her for 10 seconds. Yeah, I really am sorry. Let me ask you this, if I can get you to talk about this for a second. Can you talk about your mom and your dad? Obviously, you guys got divorced. Obviously, your parents found out. Do you ever have feelings that maybe your mom and your dad, that they, how can I put it? They knew how naive you were, but they sent you. Do you ever feel like your parents could have filled you in to the true nature of the female, maybe before you got married?
I mean, yeah, I suppose, but I guess I tend to look at it from a broader perspective because, I might put out some videos on this. I've been thinking about this for quite a while now, but I've kind of landed on something that you guys might find interesting. I call it, the term I use is the cycle of destruction. So basically, I think there's these cycles that happen, and they're generational. So it's like a snake eating its tail type of dynamic going on. So
Okay.
I've heard through the grapevine, because I never really knew her much, but I heard that my grandma on my father's side was like a complete narcissist. And so that's the environment in which very likely my father grew up in. And so I'll have to make a video about this because it's kind of complex. I don't want to bore the audience here, but basically the destructive patterns, it doesn't really matter where they start, whether it's the mother or the father. The destructive patterns tends to they're cyclical. So let's just start with the father. Okay, so the father fails to be an adequate protector, and the wife resents him as a result. And because women naturally hate weak men, it follows that they would also naturally hate the weak man's offspring. And so a lot of times what happens is the man fails, the woman hates the man because of the failure, and then the offspring from the man she also hates and tries to destroy. And that treatment from the mother to the son creates this like mother-son dynamic where he has like a deficit of mother love. So it's been touched on before in the term male mother need. So there's like the son needs the mother figure that he never had, and so he ends up looking for basically a toxic woman who will destroy him just like his mother did. And the cycle just keeps on repeating and repeating generationally. So that's kind of a roundabout way to answer your question, but basically I think that sort of cycle is at play in almost every single family. And I would say it was certainly at play in my own family and ancestors. And so I probably came into to my own marriage less equipped and just ignorant of a lot of this kind of stuff, for sure. But I don't think my parents like knowingly withheld stuff. Like I think there's another generational cycle that's, you know, messed up, just like my life's been messed up, you know.
You know what? That sounds like a great idea for a video.
Yeah, yeah. I've got titles for 4 videos. I want to cover the father, the mother, the son, and the daughter.
Let me ask you a couple more questions. So you're divorced now. When was your divorce finalized?
3 days before the COVID national emergency.
So 2.5 years ago.
Yep.
What's your level of interaction with this woman now?
I have, as much as I possibly can, eliminated all communication. So obviously, since we have 50-50 custody, there has to be some communication. But from the get-go, I told her that she was to never text me and never call me, except in the event of an emergency involving our son, or in a very, very special circumstance where, you know, there's time pressure and urgency, and she absolutely has to get a hold of me in some way that pertains to our son. So basically, we don't ever talk. She never texts me. I never call her, never text her. Almost all communication happens over email. That way it's easily documented for legal purposes.
Of course.
But on occasion, I'll have to, you know, I will have to see her like over holiday
Right.
custody exchanges, or
I was going to say, every single custody exchange you see her, don't you?
actually, no, I had my attorney set it up to where basically I almost never see her. So like I drop him off at his daycare, and then she drops him off at my daycare.
Okay, well that's
and then
good.
when he gets to be school age, then it'll be the same. Like she'll drop him off at school. One of us will drop him off, one of us will pick him up, and we'll never like have occasion to see each other.
Sure,
So
right. This way,
pretty happy about
that. Does minimize. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I just said I was pretty happy about that. I kind of take the gray rock approach.
Well, it seems to work for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's the best I could hope for. You know, I still have to see her like at dentist appointments or doctor's appointments, but even then, like like I saw her the other day. Or I guess you could say I saw her out of the corner of my eye the other day. Like I had to go pick up my son, but I literally didn't even look at her the whole time. Like I just focused on my son and got out of there as soon as I could.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. What do you do for holidays now? I mean, how does that work? You go see your parents. I'm assuming you don't go visit her parents anymore.
Oh no, I haven't even talked to them once since the whole divorce thing happened. They're like, it's weird, but like I despise them 1,000 times more than I despised her. Because they were like, I mean, she was like dysfunctional and evil, and they were like conniving and planning and scheming and backstabbing evil. You know, she was just like chaos. They were like Satan. So yeah, holidays I don't really do holidays anymore. I've kind of just stopped celebrating like all holidays basically. Like I guess I could still celebrate like Thanksgiving and maybe Independence Day.
I was going to say you still celebrate Kwanzaa, I hope, at least.
What the heck is that?
Kwanzaa is a made-up holiday, predominantly celebrated by the African American community here in the United States.
I think it's Black Christmas, isn't it?
It's basically Black Christmas.
Okay. I'm obviously extremely African American, so yeah, definitely.
I can tell by the declension of your voice. Yes. Okay.
Wait, hold on a second. What about for like his birthday? Do you guys have like birthday parties for him, or is it 2 separate parties?
Yeah, so it's all spelled out in the settlement. So
Yeah.
A lot of it like alternates year. So like I'll get them one year, she'll get them the next.
Oh God, that's awful.
But yeah, in a way, I mean,
I'm sorry to dwell. I'm sorry to dwell on her, to have you dwell on her. What is she doing
no,
with
it's all
herself
good.
these days? Is she dating anyone? Is she trying to get remarried? For that matter, are you dating?
I am not dating anyone at all. I'm completely monk mode right now. So yeah, she's got a boy toy and tried to get my son to call him stepdad, even though it's just a boyfriend, which kind of was a punch to the gut. But yeah, I've only ever seen him once, never even met him. Don't know anything about him other than what my son tells me. But it sounds like he's like financially pretty well off, and they've been quote unquote going steady for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or something. But I'm just
Okay.
kind of waiting. I'm waiting for that to blow up. so
Oh
yeah,
yeah, no. I imagine if she's as crazy as if even half the things you say about her are true, it's only a matter of time.
yeah, my attorney said one time, towards the end of the settlement, he said something like, he's like, it's like she has a little demon inside of her eating its way out and it's just about to burst out. And he's like, and I really hope that happens before I retire so I can take her on in court for you.
He said
hated her
that to
guts.
you?
Yeah, he hated her guts.
Wow. But okay, so he hates her guts, but he's still with her?
No. This was my attorney, not her boyfriend.
Oh, right. Oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Okay, so
Yeah, no, it's all good.
your attorney had also noticed her behavior.
Oh yeah, he was like, he kind of was funny sometimes. He's this really old guy, right? So he's like mid 60s and he walks on a walker and his hands are all like gnarled up and everything. Just this old badass basically.
Okay.
And yeah, he shared his opinions with me. He said that he was like, when he told me that I had basically won the Super Bowl in divorce terms, i.e. getting 50% custody. He told me, he's like, I mean, we can go to court if you want. He's like, I would love to peel her like an onion. And
Oh, that's right. I remember that. You used that term in one of your videos.
yeah. So he got all like, apparently he had had a divorce in the past, and he just, I think he probably got into family law so he could like take out his revenge on all
Yes.
these horrible people.
Yes. I remember you saying that you believe that well, exactly what you just said, that he wanted to bring some measure of justice to what he considered an unfair system and all that.
Yes. The last thing he ever said to me was, and I only ever saw him like literally walking outside of the courthouse. That's the last time I've talked to the guy. And he just looks at me and he's like, I think you'll be happier now, and walks away.
Yeah.
So pretty legendary how he handled it all.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's beyond tragic. I come from a broken family as well, and I can tell you, the hurt does not. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. I'm sort of thinking now that. Oh, okay. So this is what I've noticed. I essentially have had a falling out with almost every single member of my family. The ones, how can I put it? How can I say it in a very succinct manner? Essentially, I've noticed it's a good thing for me mentally to cut ties with them completely. And the ones that I'm still connected to, the ones I think about the most, they still cause emotional angst or something. Okay, yeah, that's, you know what, that's how I'll describe it. I'll give you two examples. My dad and one of my sisters. Um, One of my sisters, I had a falling out with her probably at this point almost 20 years ago, maybe like 18 years ago. I don't even think of her like on a daily basis. Weeks will go, months will go by. I don't even think of her. But my dad, I think of my dad all the time. I think about my dad almost every day. Um, but I think it's time for me to sort of cut ties with my dad. And I think that would be good for me, for my mental health. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's damn.
Funny you say that.
Or go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just funny you say that because I've had similar realizations over the past 3 years. I've literally lost like every single best friend or quote unquote best friend. They were fair weather friends really, but yeah, lost a lot of family and friend connections post divorce. It's kind of funny how that works. It's like once the divorce domino falls, then it's like job domino, financial domino, all other relationships domino.
Yes.
Friendships.
Yes.
I mean, mental health. It's like it's no wonder guys off themselves, honestly. And I'm kind of surprised in the way that I didn't go there. To be frank, you know, I'm in a better place now, but yeah, pretty
right.
overwhelming destruction. That's for sure.
Overwhelming, yeah. I liken it to a wave, like a tidal wave of despair that can come over you. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, at your lowest, you know, who knows what you could have done some real, you know, some good work with a butcher knife, you know.
Yeah, it's man, it's pretty wild. I mean, I'm still dealing with it. I mentioned that I got diagnosed with PTSD, so I definitely do have that as a result. You know, today was even one of those days, so I appreciate you having me on because kind of gave me something to look forward to, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, I've said it before. I do consider this a form of what's it called? I'm sorry, it escapes me at the moment. Cognitive behavioral therapy. I see this as a form of therapy. I think that
Yeah.
in many ways, men getting together and talking about just the true nature of this reality, everything you talked about, how it affects your mind, how it affects your pocketbook, you know, the loss of your friends, your own family turning on you. I think it helps men. What's the word? Internalize it.
Yeah, I would say so. And it's, I mean, the clinical term is probably integration. So you're integrating the parts of yourself, you know. But yeah, talk therapy. It's a real thing, and I found it to be helpful. Unfortunately, any guys out there who might be listening, if you have a really traumatic event such as what we've been talking about, there's probably a good chance you've got some kind of trauma damage, if not full-blown PTSD. And if that's the case, just understand that your tendency is probably going to be to like repeat yourself 1,000 times. But it's worth it if you can go to therapy and just kind of get it out there, or maybe even better than therapy, talk to your fellow red pill guys. And yeah, it's good stuff, but hang in there.
Yeah. And again, from my experience, it never goes away completely, but I liken it to it almost goes away completely. I'm stealing this. I don't even know from who, but it's like looking at something in a rear view mirror when you're driving away. You know, as as time goes on, it just becomes more of a distant memory. And for me, anyway, the goal has been. I know this sounds terrible to say, but it's true. To completely forget about some members of my family. You can call it loving them from afar. You can call it whatever you want, but like I said, my sister Jessica, my sister Olivia, I haven't seen or spoken to my sister Jessica in almost 2 decades. I think I can't remember. 7 years ago, 8 years ago, she called me on the phone. I literally could not. I wasn't able to recognize her voice. I didn't know who it was, and she told me, and I just said okay, and then I just hung up. And she called me like 2 or 3 more times later that week, and I just told her, I have nothing to say to you ever again. I don't know if I had mentioned this. I told you she tried to poke me where the sun don't shine, and I didn't finish that story. I slapped the shit out of her. I have a long history. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. I don't want to incriminate myself. No, I'll just come out and say it. I have a long history of defending myself against against women's abusive behavior. I'm the type of man, if a woman puts her hands on me, I will break her jaw. In fact, I've gone to jail for that. Anyway, so my sister, she did something she shouldn't have done. I slapped the shit out of her. She went and she got my other sister, Olivia, and she also got my mom. They were all in the same house, and she turned them all on me. She said, "Oh yeah, no, he hit me, and oh my God, And I explained myself. I said, "No, I hit her, and this is why. She bad touched me essentially." Of course, they all took her side. It got I can't remember. Whatever, I can't remember. It was the same day. Maybe like, I don't know, an hour later, half an hour later. I told her, I can call the police. That's technically illegal. She said the same thing that your ex-wife said. She's like, if you do that, I'm gonna make up a story about you, and you're gonna go to jail. And my jaw just
And they
dropped.
will. That's the thing. They will. That's the thing. Like, it's so chilling when you hear that.
That's so chilling. It's scary. It's like, who are you really? I was 20.
Yeah.
I was 22 at the time. It was like a year or 2 years before I moved to South Dakota. And we're Irish twins. She's like 10 months older than me. So I don't know. I'm 22. She's 23. You imagine a young, pretty 23-year-old girl. She's your sister. You think she loves you. You love her. You're both young. Everything's good. Next thing you know, she thinks it's okay to bad touch you, and you defend yourself. And she's making threats now.
And then she's dropping accusations on you.
She's
threatening you. That's horrible. And she's only 22 at the time.
Right.
And the funny thing is these females, they learn this behavior early.
Oh, they do. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I have this memory that only recently surfaced. So get this, okay? So kind of a funny story, or not funny, but strange. So talking about learning it early, right? So I had this great grandma. She's in a really, really small, rural, like Western, like basically cattle town, okay? And she goes to this tiny little country church, and I go with her one time as a little kid, and there's these girls who are maybe like 3 or 4 years older than me, and they're really pretty. And I remember, as a young kid, you don't really know what to do when you run into a pretty girl. You just kind of like probably stare in awe or like get really shy or whatever, right? So it's out in the sort of desert areas, and there's these little sand toads. And I remember one time after church, the kids are just kind of playing around or whatever, and I was always a little bit of a loner, so I was just kind of standing off, in the trees or something. And well, it turns out when I was little, I had a fascination with like reptiles and amphibians, like lizards and frogs and snakes and that kind of stuff. So I was like, I love these little creatures, And this girl, she finds this toad, and she immediately like has a sixth sense that, because we didn't talk, she didn't say anything. She just looks at me and holds the toad in front of me, and I know now, I didn't realize at the time, but I know now that she sensed that I liked it and I wanted to hold it or, play with it or whatever.
She didn't squeeze it to death, did she?
No, her family is about to leave, right? So her family's about to leave, and it's just this tiny little toad, like a little baby toad. So it can't hop very far or very fast.
Sure.
And right as she's about to leave, she looks at me just with a brazen smile, puts the toad under, like right behind the back tire of their family van, and then gets in the van. I think the toad hopped away, and I never saw the toad. It didn't get killed, but like, that's an early memory I have. When she was a young kid, I was a young kid, and she was doing like truly psychopathic, like super twisted. I mean, you've heard of like those people who like step on kittens with high heel shoes or something. Like, she was doing that kind of stuff at probably like 12 years old, So
right.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
Hey, Red.
That was a church girl.
I don't know what to say.
Honestly, I thought that story was going to get worse, but
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this Monk
I can
Farmer?
hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I tried to get in before, but Red, that your memory there isn't about the girl. It's about the lizard. You're actually projecting things you see inside yourself. and the magnetism or the female energy is what's destroying your serpent. So it's I've been having this shit where the world is unfolding to me, and if anybody else knew what was happening to me, you'd put me in a padded room, but it's actually the way it is. She was giving you that frog because it's a story of Adam and Eve with the snake and the apple. She was offering you information, but she took it away from you. So you're seeing a woman, a female, trying to hurt you when the representation of that is the female energy is supposed to help you. So it's backwards. I mean,
So
if you guys,
let me, if I may interject just quickly, and then yeah, I'm essentially going to turn it over to you for a while, Monk. I've same thing. I've listened to many of your videos. Red Mind Man, I don't know if you know. I should preface everything by saying Mgtow Monk is very eclectic. He talks about things like lowering or raising your frequency. I don't know if you believe in any of that stuff. Some people consider that like woo-woo stuff.
it's the conscious.
I'm sorry.
I've actually been subscribed to Mgtow Monk for quite a while. I've watched his stuff for
Oh, you
probably
know that.
a
Oh,
year and a
okay.
half.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, 'cause I
He's-
was-
Farmer, actually, guys, but that's okay.
What's that? I'm
say
sorry.
it again.
It was Monk Farmer. Mgtow Monk is somebody else.
Oh, right. I'm
Monk
sorry. I
Farmer,
meant Monk
that's right.
Farmer. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
Anyway,
that's
yeah,
fine. I
I've
don't know.
used,
I just changed
I've
this
used
to
EFT before.
what I did because that's what my name means in Hebrew. You need to look up what your name means in Hebrew because we're all living the same script.
Yeah,
See, that's
it's
what
good
I'm talking
stuff.
about.
I don't mind. I don't mind thinking outside the box. You know, I've always been someone who kind of naturally explores the rabbit hole, so to speak. So I don't mind Monk Farmer's
Yeah.
content at all, even though we might
No,
not
not
agree
at
on
all.
everything. It's super interesting
Right,
stuff.
right. You're right. You don't have to necessarily agree on everything. Monk Farmer even gets into Monk Farmer. Do I understand you correctly? You even get into gematria and stuff like that.
I don't know what that is, so you'll have to clarify.
Oh, gematria is like sacred numerology.
Math, right?
Yeah,
well,
sacred math.
actually,
Geometry, symbolism, numbers.
actually, I don't get into it per se. It's just math is the only language that doesn't lie, and you guys probably know that. And I'm just, I don't get into it. It's becoming part of who I am. It's freaky as all hell, if you ask me.
Well, like for example, you were saying, I think in one of your past videos, like, oh, there's a store right by me called Fisher, and because of that, part of some large government conspiracy or something. Or I'm sorry,
Not even close.
I'm going
Not
off on
even
a tangent, but I'm sorry.
Governments could no, it's not governmental. Okay, let me break into this one about Red. See, when he got married, the marriage is a representation. It's not a real thing between a man and a woman. It's supposed to be the marriage is it's the joining of magnetic and electrical energy that sparks the flame. So when you get a marriage and they take a candle for the man and the woman to light the eternal flame, the eternal flame is actually happens in your brain between your pineal and your fourth ventricles. That's the Ark of the Covenant. It's a real structure inside your brain. So Red's wife has got all kinds of problems because she went through this act of an actual physical thing that happens inside our brain. Well, her brain, her subconscious thinks it happened, but it didn't. So she doesn't have the electrical energy joining the two halves of the brain because it's an external representation. So she starts flipping out. Then they have a kid. Now, the problem with having a child with a woman who is not stable is because she's not physically stable on an electrical level, and no one really is. So when that woman has a child, the child inside her body makes her happy and energetic because there's two hearts, and your heart is an electromagnetic pump. And your spark of consciousness, which is in your brain, is a small piece of light. That light is terabytes of information in the brain. So when you talk about past traumas from past people, it's actually past traumas of yourself through the theory of reincarnation, where the data in your light that is passed down and not destroyed actually is damaged, and your next lifetime reimposes the damage from the previous lifetime you need to heal from. So his wife was super happy to be pregnant, and when that baby left her body, that heart and that spark in that child leaving the physical form of her, now the heart is an electromagnetic pump. It creates electricity, and that spark is connected to what they call the Holy Spirit, which is actually just an electrical frequency that we operate close to. So when that baby left her physical body, she started having problems because she felt like shit. That's what postpartum depression is a drop in electrical energy in the female's body. It doesn't matter what you did, because all the problems she had were her problems internally and had nothing to do with you. The biggest problem men have is because we're the other half of the equation. We think there's something we can do about it when it was just a her problem inside her own brain. And it's not, it's chemical.
Wow. You must be much more advanced than me, Monk Farmer.
That was some heavy shit.
That's very profound. I was gonna say his wife just needed a good fucking slap across the face.
No, that's the last thing she needed. That's things of man. That's the physical. The physical doesn't matter anymore. Now, the problem that most people don't understand that I got into this, you can go to a channel called Suspicious Observer. The government, the real conspiracy is, you guys all remember the Mayan calendar?
Yeah. Yes.
12,000 year calendar.
And by the way, I'm sorry to have to bring this up. It's not just the Mayan calendar. It's also the Aztec calendar. Is that correct?
Probably. I don't know.
The one that shows in the middle the man with his tongue sticking out.
The man with his tongue sticking out. That one I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Okay, go ahead.
But it was a 12.
Real quick, if I can just interject, just so you guys know, I'll probably have to head out here in maybe 10 minutes or so. But yeah, carry on.
Oh, and Red,
sure, bro.
The numbers talk to you as you have 12 months of counseling. She had 9 traits of personality disorder. So the numbers matter because 12 is the number of your spine, your brain nerves. Jesus is your brain stem, is your 13th. The 9 is the upright man. But when you look at it from the lower consciousness, you see it, the 9 is a problem when it's actually righteousness. It's Thor from the MCU. He's a righteous man. So when your wife leaves you to be with her father, she's magnetism, he's electrical energy. It's 36 hours later that they take all your bank account. Part of your script is 36 is complete, 3 is completion, 6 is lower. So she took all the things of lower, which is your money, and then you've been losing everything around you, which is the best thing for you because everything around you doesn't matter. It's actually holding you down. Sounds kind of stupid, but it's upside down.
That's actually super crazy because I've never even let on in my channel, and I don't know if it would even be appropriate on my channel, honestly, but I've had all kinds of really, really wild stuff with numbers that what you just said kind of I find it really fascinating because I've already had a separate interest in that topic anyway. So thanks for sharing.
The other part is you and your wife had a son, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I got an example for you, which is going to apply to that situation. Now, I live on a farm in a house separated across a driveway from my parents. And I had this in my video, and it's hilarious because she doesn't listen to me. Now, it's one of those, the older she gets, the more moody grandma she gets, and they look down on you when you're not married and have kids because you don't fulfill their dream. So I would buy her wine from Rapid City. There's a Firehouse Winery. They're a brewery out there. Really good wine. And one day she doesn't listen to me. So I took all the wine out of the house and took it to my place. And she's been nothing but problematic and moody since. Now, if you look into the biblical aspect, I'm playing out the story as if I'm the son, my mother and father, which you cannot consider anyone your mother or father because we're electrical beings. Our father is the current sheet that's coming, that the Mayan calendar counted down, and our mother is the magnetism of this earth. So if you think you have a mother and father, you don't know the mother and father. But I took the wine away from my mother. Now, in this analogy, I'm the Son, I'm Jesus. Well, Jesus turns water into wine, and Jesus is your brainstem. He turns spinal fluid into another molecule that's one molecule away from salt water, which actually, when burned off in your consciousness in the ventricles, creates DMT. It's the get high drug. So I'm literally stoned all the time.
That reminds me of
That was an
That
epic way to
explains
end
a
the
lot.
monologue.
But at that point, when I took the wine away from my mother, that was the Son taking the spinal fluid away from the body of her. So I was basically pulling her, Jesus, away from her, and she's been nothing but pissy ever since. Well, I've taken away what she outwardly represents, something that needs to happen internally. I mean, I talk about, you got to go see Danny's videos, is Passing by 33. He doesn't get into the biology, but he talks about the psychology of it. But literally, the best thing you can do is be by yourself. And there's 6 ways to get it wrong and only 1 way to get it right. And I'm taking my videos down because I don't need to talk about this other than when people talk to me.
Let me ask you this, Mgtow Farmer. Have you ever heard of? I'm gonna list a couple of names, and I'd like to speak with you about them if you're willing to.
Go for it.
I've also taken a deep dive into some of this. Have you ever heard of Michael Tessarian or Mark Passio?
Nope.
Or Jordan Maxwell?
Nope.
Or David Icke?
I've heard of David Icke.
Oh, you've heard of David Icke. Okay.
Oh, I like David Icke.
You've heard of David?
Yes.
Is it Icke or Icke? Icke.
Icke.
I don't know if he's bullshit or not, but sometimes the spirit lets people know stuff ahead of time.
Have you ever heard of Zachariah Sitchin?
Nope.
No. Okay. For example, Zachariah Sitchin, he puts forth the idea that essentially the human race was created as a slave race by the Nephilim, or these people that had come
the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki, right,
Yeah.
right. Or in the Bible, it's the Nephilim, but he calls them the Anunnaki. And they came here and they were primarily looking for I think like precious metals like gold and silver.
Yeah, no, they created us to mine gold.
And they created us to mine gold. Do you put any stock in that, or what David Icke says, or reptilian humanoid?
Well, what you just described is not what you think it is. The Anunnaki want gold, and they enslaved the human. Well, the human translates to monster. The Anunnaki would be a higher being than the human. Well, gold is the most conductive, electrically conductive metal on the planet. That's why everybody wants it, because it moves currency or current, electrical current. So they call this money our currency. It's our energy when it's an external representation of the electrical energy. So the Nephilim, which I think that's something else in the Bible I don't remember, but it's more of like what you're talking about, they enslaved the humans. Well, they enslaved the monster. The trick to this, and I hope Red, you still there? Good, you're still there. You need to hear this. There's
I'm listening.
Yeah, this is actually really important to what you're dealing with. And what you need to do is what I like to call the mirror test. And it's kind of a joke.
I think what he's telling you is you need to buy gold and silver.
No, who gives a fuck about your gold or silver? Nobody cares. It doesn't exist. What you need to do is press your face against a mirror and stare at your eyes. And you sit there for about a minute until your eyes actually zone out and you slowly back away from the mirror. It's Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, because when you back away from that mirror, you're going to see that your eyes will then refocus. In a split second, you won't recognize the person in the mirror. So every time you talk about sixes, or I talk about the lower, because the pineal gland is perfection, that's where the spark sits. But when you're in the lower, you'll see that person in the mirror and you'll recognize it's not you. The story of Adam and Eve and why you liked snakes and reptiles is because the snake brought the apple to Eve. The snake is knowledge, bringing knowledge to the female, or Eve, and then Eve gives the apple to Adam. Well, you're neither of those two. So when you look in the mirror, that is your subconscious, Eve, seeing your eyes. When they focus, there's a gap. That's the apple being handed to Adam. There's a gap there where you don't recognize yourself because Adam, or your ego, or who you are projecting out there, is a memory. So everyone's operating in this consciousness looking backwards. So your wife was never looking forward, and you're not looking forward now. So when you see that, you're going to see this split, and it's going to be like, who the fuck was that? That's because you're neither of those two. So if you got this inner monologue where your brain, you're talking to yourself. That was a question.
Sorry. I mean, yeah, I think to myself.
You got a voice in your head, right?
That's one way to put it.
Well, but you can literally think inside your head. You know, you sit there and you think. Well, the problem is that's not you. But it's
sounds
in your
like
head.
Something Ghost Mgtow might say.
Well, but it's not. It's your ego. It's your story you project. So then, who are you?
Mgtow Farmer, what are we? So I have studied some of this. Some of what you're saying I actually agree with you with, especially when it comes to vibrations. I'm reminded of Tesla. Tesla, and of course I consider Tesla one of the smartest dudes like ever. He said, if you want to, this quote is almost verbatim. I guess I'm paraphrasing, but he said something.
Roman candles?
Yeah, those are Roman candles.
You want to go out on a Roman candle fight?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
we go
do
play.
that. Oh, you got to do that. Roman candle fight to the best.
Yeah, I have some leftover fireworks in my apartment that Bob just found. Anyway, Tesla said, if you want to unlock the mysteries of the universe, you need to understand. You need to think in terms of, what was it? Frequency. Was it frequency, wave, and vibration? Have you ever heard of that, Mgtow Farmer?
No, but I can explain it.
Yeah, it's sound, vibration, and frequency.
And let me preface all this by giving you a quick example. And I'm stealing this example. I admit I'm stealing this example from David Icke. David Icke talked about how everything, in a way, is frequency. Even the words right now, like when one person speaks to another person.
Hey, Mgtow
Cowboy, if I can.
Set
of freeze. So oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna jump in real quick here. I'll just right along with what you were saying, and then I'll hop off here. But yeah, there's in the Bible, there's a really interesting verse along with what you're saying. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." So I'll leave you to the rest of the stream here. But thanks for having me on.
Hey, Red.
Sure, bro. Take care, bro.
That third person is your God, is you.
Right on, bro. I'll keep listening, but you guys keep it going. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Take care. It was great. It was great. I'm so sorry for your situation, and I don't know, man. Keep trucking.
Yeah, man. That's the plan, and thanks for having me on. I'll be happy to join again sometime.
Oh yeah. We'll do it again in a couple months. Take care, Red Mind Man.
Sounds cool. You have a good night, guys. Take care.
All right, bro. Peace out. Yeah. Mgtow Farmer. I remember I was listening to David Icke, and he's talking, and he's like, okay, so when one person talks to another, all they're really doing is they're creating a set of vibrations, and they're stringing them together into words, and then they're stringing those words together into sentences, and then they're stringing the sentences together into paragraphs, into complex thoughts. But what is a word? And I know this because I studied language in university. So, like, for example, in English, there are 26 letters of the alphabet, and each individual letter is actually a vibration. It's called what's it called? A phenom? I can't remember. The point is the reason why you can hear me is because I'm shooting out vibrations into the atmosphere, and the atmosphere carries the vibration, and then the vibration hits your ears, and then it goes into your inner ear. You have these tiny little hairs that pick up on the vibration, and then it creates like an electrical signal that goes to your brain. And because essentially you and I speak the same code, which in this case is English, you're understanding every word I'm saying, and I'm able to express these complex ideas. Does any of that make any sense?
Yeah, the only thing I'd have to ask is which 3 letters were added within the last 500 years, because the original languages only had 23 letters, and the word is actually your DNA.
I don't know. Does it have something to do with the vowels?
Well, J didn't exist. I know that. I want to say there might be some others that didn't exist, and they just started changing these things. So when you talk about frequency, one example I do know of is, you know how they tune instruments?
Yeah, like a tuning fork and so on. Yeah.
Well, but they tune modern music to like 741 hertz or something like that, is where they like bass tune everything.
Yeah, that's not good.
But you know what I mean? Well, how they tune instruments?
Yes and no. Yes, I'm aware of the concept, but how they do it, I don't know.
Okay, well,
I thought you do it with like a tuning fork.
No, the concept is what you need to know. They use they tune instruments to a bass frequency. I think they tune like all of them. You know, they start at one note and then they tune all the strings to a guitar based off that first note to put the guitar in tune.
Okay.
You know the concept? Kind of a simple concept.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean, but the Rockefellers in the late 1800s actually tuned they set the frequency. So actually, when an F sharp is played, it is in complete dissonance from the frequency of the human body. So our modern day music is tuned to be destructive to the human body.
I agree with that. I agree with everything. I agree with everything you just said. I believe that there is a multi-pronged, whatever you want to call it, full spectrum dominance. Yeah, I think that the ultra rich, they're attacking us in every way, and it's not just the food or chemicals in the plastic. It's even well, as you're describing right now, it's even the music. Even the music is disharmonious.
But they're not attacking us. See, a lot of times when a lot of bad things happen to us, it's because we do it to ourselves. The Satan, the evil, like you talk about people being evil, it's not that they're evil. Evil is actually how you pronounce foolish. So the word is stupid. Stupid translates to fool, and it's pronounced in Hebrew evil. So what you end up having is a dumb ego is evil, because you're not the higher righteous self, which is someone who actually is getting the electrical energy up into your brain and being able to decipher what's happening in front of you in an active manner instead of a reactive manner. See, BPD and bipolar disorders is not actually a disorder. They can't pin it to something. All it is a woman's inability to put her memories in a chronological order. When you're working with a BPD female, it's because they're seeing the world as if you were watching Pulp Fiction. You don't know what scene you're in, so she constantly doesn't understand how to react because the electrical energy and impulses in her brain aren't wired correctly.
Wow, that's heavy. I mean, by the way, I love that movie.
I never did like that.
Right?
I absolutely love that movie.
I think it's too long. Every time I see it now, it's too long.
Yeah, you remember that? Remember that heroin? Remember that heroin scene where he stabs her in the heart?
Oh,
And she
yeah,
jumps
yeah.
out? That's so nasty. Yeah, no, I give some credence to what you're saying. I just think I go back and I'll say it again. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe some of these women, they do know what they're doing, and they do know what they're doing is evil. You're saying they don't even know what they're doing is evil because they're following multiple timelines?
Well, the thing was, when I talked about the mirror test, you're not you,
Yes.
You're a story. Well, the story is a series of memories. So when Red is getting on the on ramp and his wife all of a sudden starts punching him, she could have been operating under a memory from something 20 years ago that she was lashing out against, not knowing where she was or what she was doing.
Huh. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I buy into that just yet.
Well, you got to.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could rob a liquor store, and then if I get in trouble, I'm just going to say, oh, you know what? I wasn't in that moment in time, Judge. I was in my mind. I was parachuting into the jungles of Burma in the middle of the night. And I thought I was fighting communists back in the '60s. I mean, is that going to work? Or
A woman would get away with that.
yeah, well,
you know what? He's right.
Okay, where do you guys? You guys are in Chicago, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. What are you like? I mean, I drive semi, so I'm through there as little as I possibly can. So you're probably what, in the north side or the south side?
Bob is on the south side. I live in a second ring suburb. Think
Franklin
northwest.
Park.
Think northwest side. So northwest, and then he's far south.
Well, like Lincolnshire or Libertyville.
It's a beautiful
No,
place in
no,
the country.
No, that's more towards the lake. Where Cowboys more towards O'Hare.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're out there. Well, I live 45 miles north of Green Bay. I am where the people that live around you that are ultra wealthy, 3 miles, 4 miles north of me is a
Yeah.
lake that they live on. When they can come up for vacation, they come up where I live. So I had girls that were like, you should go get a job in the city and we should move to the city. And I said, why the fuck would I go there? I live where those people want to be.
Sure, you got it. Do you live in Door County by any chance?
No, the other side of the bay.
Okay. Speaking of rich Chicagoans, my father and my stepmother, they recently bought a house. Not recently. This is already 2 years ago on Washington Island. Have you ever heard of Washington Island?
Oh, that's a fucking nightmare. Why would you want to go there? You got to cross a fucking ferry and it takes forever to get there.
Yes. It's 7 miles off the coast. It takes. Oh yeah. Okay. It's 7 miles off the coast. I don't know. It was probably my stepmom's idea.
But it's perfect for them.
I think it's perfect for her. She's, I guess, half Scandinavian, and apparently the island was first settled by some Scandinavians. They bought a house, I think, in Norway. They had the house deconstructed and shipped to the island where it was reconstructed. So it's like her Viking fantasy Valhalla, Valkyrie getaway or something.
Oh God, don't tell him.
It is quite nice up here. I'm literally due west of that, just across the lake. So I mean, it's what I was getting at is I'm standing outside in my backyard looking up at the stars where you guys are sitting in a big city.
Sure.
So you do understand. You brought up the frequencies. Well, how many cell phones? How many antennas? How many cars? How many radios? How much vibration does that city have that's putting you in dissonance?
Right, I completely agree. I remember I was speaking with what's his name? He was not Freaky Jersey Tales. I'm sorry, who was it? Lord Hybrid. You may have heard of Lord Hybrid. He was saying the same thing, that he was so sure about what you're talking about, these 5G towers and just all this electromagnetic frequency in highly populated areas. He purposely bought a piece of property with a house on it. As far out as he could. He said you can't even see a 5G tower. You have to drive half an hour for basically the same thing you're saying, that we're being bombarded by radiation, and some of it's probably, maybe, I don't know, very bad for us.
Well, it's all very bad for you, but we got to go back to. I mean, I've done videos on this before, but I've never gone straight into it like I am with you guys right now, because everything's been gotten really, really clear. Now, this goes into I'm very sensitive to electricity. I always have been. But roughly today at 1:30, the sun actually had a solar flare, and I physically felt that. So
wow.
that's the kind of sensitivity that the human body is designed to do. Now, when we get back to the Mayan calendar, you remember when they locked us down in March of 2020 for some fucking flu?
Yeah.
Do you think it was actually because of a flu?
Well, I have my own ideas on that. No, I don't.
No.
Do you
Not
know
at
what
all.
actually happened?
No,
Was there a solar flare?
No, Pluto lost 25% of its atmosphere.
How would that affect us?
You remember the Mayan calendar?
Yes.
The Mayan calendar counted down the heartbeat of our galaxy. It takes an electrical pulse out of the center of our galaxy in a wave, roughly 12,000 years, to get to our solar system based on the location of our solar system in this galaxy. That electromagnetic pulse hit Pluto in March of 2020.
Okay. So,
Roughly a month ago, it caused Neptune's atmosphere to collapse.
this isn't coming to us, is it?
You know why the planes don't fly as high?
No.
So you're saying they're not cruising at 33,000 feet?
No, they used to cruise between 40 and 60,000 feet. Now they can barely hit 27,000 feet because our atmosphere has shrunk and the jet fuel is gelling at regular altitudes. There were articles written about it last summer.
Well, I have heard that we are losing our atmosphere slowly. Is that true?
No, we're not losing it slowly. We're losing it quickly. Remember when it got super cold last year and Texas froze?
Mm-hmm.
I was in Wyoming about 2 weeks after it was 50 degrees. It had warmed back up. I'm driving from Cheyenne to Gillette, which is like due north through the eastern half of Wyoming. Sitting in the truck, 50 degrees outside, I couldn't breathe. I asked another driver if he felt lightheaded. A polar vortex is an ozone hole. The sun's radiation turns O2 into O3, which is ozone, to close the hole.
True.
It was sucking
Yeah,
oxygen out of the lower atmospheres.
Okay,
Now,
so are you saying that you believe that our ozone, essentially we've punched holes in our ozone, and now because of that the sun is there are negative, there's harmful radiation that's bleeding through and it's going to kill us?
No, not at all.
The ozone thing wasn't a thing since the 90s. Remember?
I just remember this thing with like CFCs or these little.
Yeah, that's right. We couldn't use Freon in our
Chloro-
fucking refrigerators.
See, but you guys understand you're operating on a memory. You didn't understand what I just told you because your egos are in control. Now, this winter, I drove through Waterloo, Iowa, same kind of cold, sitting in a truck. I can't breathe. There's no oxygen at the lower altitudes. Why? Because our magnetic shielding and our ozone shrunk because the planets are connected electrically and they are connected magnetically together with the sun. So when Pluto is struck by this big current sheet of electricity, it changed the magnetics of our entire solar system.
How's it going, guys?
Yes, hello, Real Talk. How are you, sir?
Great. How's the panel doing tonight?
Very good, and we're happy to have you.
I'm only talking about the end of the world, boys. I mean, it's no big deal.
Well, let me ask you this, Mgtow Farmer. I mean, are you predicting like some sort of like extinction level event kind of thing, or?
I'm not predicting it. The CIA has known about it since the 30s, and the government is digging bunkers, and all the rich people are digging bunkers. And within 2 years, Saturn is going to start to glow like a second sun when the electric sheet gets close to it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, all right. So it's going backwards. So what's going to happen to Jupiter?
Jupiter, because our planets actually, we're not, like when they show us it, they show the sun in the center of a bunch of concentric rings, you know, like the normal solar system look.
Okay.
Our sun is actually shooting through space and the planet's corkscrew behind it. And this electric wave is coming at us from the side. So it's actually based on what point of the corkscrew is closer to the center of the galaxy. Jupiter and Uranus are on the far side of their corkscrew, farther away from the center of our our galaxy.
Could I ask a question about this. How is
Sure,
there
go ahead.
such a rapid, if it's all happening through the solar system, and we know that, solar events or solar system events, they happen over a long periods of time. How is it that all of these, things that are throwing off the maybe electricity, the magnetism, the electromagnetism, how is it that these events are just happening in such a short time span and they're very concentrated, like one event after another event after another event? Do we have some influence on the solar system for this to happen, or is it just naturally happen?
Oh yeah. That's another thing. Is there even anything we can do about it? I mean, I've heard some people say that, oh, global warming is real, and anthropomorphic global warming is real, and there's all these things that we can do about it. But I hear other people say, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. And I mean, if you even believe any of that.
The tricky part is the people that have been telling us it happens over a long period of time are studying things based on a time frame, but in the universe, time doesn't exist.
Well, now, I mean, no, I mean, but it does though, but it's relative, right? Right? Like,
Well,
time can be experienced. Like, you're partially right, but you're partially wrong, and that's been measured, I thought.
There would be no such thing as a light year if time didn't exist in astrology and the study of the universe. That's why they do have a light year.
You're wrong. You're straight up wrong. Stop talking.
For a distance period, yes.
No, let me explain. Light years don't exist. Light, the speed of light doesn't travel. Light does not travel. The atom turns on, the atom turns off. The speed of
Where
light.
are you getting this information from? I mean, where's the scientific background to say that light itself does not travel, and it doesn't travel at a particular speed? It has no traveling capabilities. How does it how do we receive light to, say, grow crops? How does that happen?
It's the law of conservation of energy. Nothing is destroyed or nothing is created. So if they would say we're 8 minutes from the sun, well, what's between us?
Right. I've heard that before. And the moon is supposedly 283,000 miles away from the Earth. I don't know.
But what's the difference between if there was matter between us and the sun, and it was just, say, a light switch turned the light off? So the sun was a light that was always on, and all the matter in between us and that point was off. So there's always energy there. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's just either on or it's off.
And what dictates the on or the off?
That's an equation that's quite wrong. It's the Einstein's E equals MC. I was going to do a video on this. I just said, fuck it, because nobody's going to understand it. Einstein did E equals MC squared, and he was paid to get it wrong. Now, he wasn't wrong with the math he did, but he knew his general perception of what was happening was wrong. The equation is actually atomic reactive inertia, which is the atom, the forces around it, and speed, times mass, and then times energy, equals on or off, light or dark, which also equals infinity. So there's always energy. If the atom is present, the mass is present. The reactive forces are the other atoms around it. Inertia, its general speed. Now, the reactive forces and the inertia have to get to light speed, which is light, is on or off, and that's where the energy comes in. You need an amount of energy to turn the atom on, but if the atom isn't there, the mass isn't there. Then it equals on or off, light or dark, doesn't matter. And it is infinity, because the whole equation equals infinity, and it solves itself. Einstein needed something to distract people.
Okay. Let me take you back for a minute, just out of sheer curiosity. I mean, are you saying the world's gonna?
Yeah.
Are you saying the world's gonna end in 2 years? You predicting like a?
The world doesn't end. The world just changes.
Okay, am I going to be in a nice place where I can buy a duplex or a two flat and start my my real estate empire in southern Indiana? Or are you saying the whole paradigm is going to change and it's going to be like Mad Max or something?
Have you taken the vaccination?
No.
Good. All those that take the vaccination are electrical dead short. They're going to burn inside their own bodies. That's what hell is. So if you change the DNA, you change the electrical cable, and the power coming will go through them and burn.
Okay.
Now I want to ask about the changing of Earth's climate, and how there's more or less food shortages coming. What is your take, Farmer, on the chemical operation of spraying strontium, aluminum, and barium in nanoparticulate form as an aerosol into clouds to steer the weather?
Chemtrails? You talking about chemtrails now?
No.
And it's not
geoengineering.
It's not just chemtrails, because HARP in Alaska came before chemtrails. HARP was like the godfather, but the chemtrail operations in conjunction with ionospheric heaters, where they take large amounts of energy and they can literally raise the temperature of the ionosphere. They have like a lot of technology now to manipulate weather and so forth. I want Farmer's take on that, because
I was just about to ask Farmer as well what he thinks of HARP. I thought HARP was supposedly a directed energy weapon or something.
No, that's what it is. It's a
microwave. You guys are all right. Are you guys
I was going to ask Farmer if he's on DMT right now.
I am.
He is, because he's constantly on DMT.
Your brain produces it naturally. I'm stoned all the time.
Yes. Actually, every single time you dream. Yeah, right. No, I've actually studied that. Anyone can go to Arrowhead. Now, I believe. Man, I don't even know what to believe. I use DMT.
Let me answer that, because you guys also forgot about CERN.
Oh, is that particle splitting thing in Switzerland?
With CERN. So they're putting all the metals. The thing with the metals is there's just as much metals you ingest in from the sky as is in your deodorant.
Oh, no, I don't use deodorant. I purposely don't want to use deodorant because it has doesn't it have like some sort of aluminum in it or some shit?
Yeah. See, it goes back to the music frequency. Everything you guys described, HARP, CERN, the spraying of the skies, is because this electrical sheet that's coming is going to be able to be used by the human being. And if you can make the human being afraid, disorganized, unharmonic, and then poisoned, you don't move the electrical energy. The easiest example.
I've listened to your videos, and you make it sound as if these people are trying to steal our inheritance. Like we can live forever, but they don't want us to live forever, so they're purposely poisoning us. If I understand you correctly.
Oh, you're totally spot on. I actually had during some meditation yesterday, I actually got to see one of my last lives. It was trippy, because when you spark up your consciousness and the eye of Ra, or the all-seeing eye, judges you, you become part of the consciousness. You basically can start looking into your light, your spark of who you are, which has all your memories from all your lives. The people that are doing these things, the last time this came, were powered up, and they ended up becoming rulers of this planet. We just switched zodiacs. Now, the zodiacs are a fucking female's dream of nightmares, and they're actually a 26,000 year calendar, which is 13 twice.
I was going to say, isn't it true that there's also there's a 13? There are not 12 houses of the zodiac. There's an extra one, isn't there?
I don't keep up with it, because it's 12 brainstem, 12 brains, 12 brain nerves, and then the 13th is Jesus, your brainstem. So when people are starting to talk about 12, well, 12 is the complete. That's why the clock goes 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. Now, the 6 is at the bottom for a reason, because the numbers mean something. There never was a 0 until recently, so we could do different math. We always did math 1 through 9.
Sure.
So there's another one of those distractions to keep you from looking. But no, they're doing all this shit in Ukraine. I mean, I would get yourself some potassium iodine tablets, just because they're going to drop a nuke somewhere, because all these shot victims have got graphite in their bodies. Now, the graphite absorbs radiation. It's what they stack around nuke reactors. So when these people start dying naturally of cancer and they can't explain it, they need to have the radiation out there to be absorbed by the graphite. Now, this is where it's conspiracy, but I'd still prepare for it because some motherfucker with a script is going to do it. And then the cancer rate goes up to cover up the fact that all these shot victims are going to start dying because their cells aren't producing the right cells anymore.
Well, where's the nuke going to be launched at? That's my question is if there is an actual nuclear weapon launched, where's it going to be? Who's it going to be pointed towards? Who's going to be the originator of such nuke? And how wouldn't there be a retaliation factor due to such launching of nuke?
1984, Oceania, the Americas, and Russia, they shoot at their own citizens.
Don't forget airstrip.
What do you mean they shoot at their own citizens? I don't understand. Where is this?
Did you read the book 1984?
Yes, I've read the book, but you're talking about that the United States and Russia shot nuclear weapons off on their own people.
No. In 1984, periodically a hypersonic missile would be shot at the regular folk to keep the terror of allowing the governments to continue with their wars. But it was their own governments that were shooting at them to continue the fear. The war on terror isn't a war on terror. It's a war on the American people.
What is the original definition of terrorism?
I don't even fucking care, but
I believe the dictionary definition of terrorism is the use of violence and the threat of violence, otherwise known as coercion, to affect political outcome.
It's government by intimidation, but I find it very hard to think, because I'm not even going to believe in it, because it doesn't really sound, it sounds very nonsensical to say that a nuclear weapon will be launched in this world and that there won't be another one launched. It's going to be launched on the American people by the Americans. It might be launched on the Russians by the Russians, and that's to get other people into conflicts. But realistically speaking, how could that happen without there being a huge fallout of nuclear war?
Why would that be a problem for the people that are running the planet?
Because the planet's going to be uninhabitable. They don't want to make the planet uninhabitable. They want 500 million people to exist on this planet. They don't want it uninhabitable.
Not when the plasma comes.
The plasma?
Yep. When the current.
So you have a theory. You have an electrical theory that Pluto's atmosphere or Pluto's electrical grid could be affecting us. If you really study the chemtrails, if you study the weather manipulation, this is what's causing our planet's weather to be completely whacked out. The governments have their hands. This is a worldwide operation. I would suggest studying Mike Morales on YouTube, because he would be the person who's been exposing this for the longest. In your opinion,
I don't want to talk to an ego. You don't realize what
this isn't an ego. This is fact. This is facts. This is verifiable facts. What do you say to the people in Arizona who got a whole?
What are they doing it for?
What are they doing it for? To literally cause farming and agriculture to be pushed back year by year. And why do I say that? Because I've actually spoke to farmers who've been in generations. What's that?
To get them to fail. To get them to fail, right?
Not necessarily to fail, to make the season shorter and to have more rainfall so it's harder to get crops to be planted. Why are they doing this? To create food shortages. And they've been doing it since 1975.
That was caused by solar forcing and electrical energy coming from our sun.
What is your distinct evidence, your proof? Because I have facts, evidence. This is truth. This is verifiable truth. There isn't conjecture. This isn't hearsay. There is literally a video recording of people from the state of Arizona, Arizonians, I don't know how it's pronounced, but they met with the ADHQ, that's the Arizona Department of Health Quality. And they went in with their doctors who did blood tests. These people collected rainwater at first. They moved to Arizona stating, I moved to Arizona for the weather. I never imagined the skies to be so doom and gloom. It went from sunshine the first few years I was here to rainfall that doesn't make any sense. So these people got a little bit curious. They collected the rainwater. They tested the rainwater. They found strontium, aluminum, and barium. That same group of people went to their doctors and got their blood tested. And they went to their doctors saying, hey, we've got a hunch that we have these heavy metals in our blood. And the doctors looked at them like they were crazy because, as the doctors testified in front of this Arizona Department of Health Quality, the doctor specifically said, not in my 20 to 25 years of experience have I ever had to administer a test for these heavy metals. They found it in the people's blood. So they're using these heavy metals to steer the clouds through next generation radar, known as NEXRAD. That's why I have a long list of pictures on my phone where you can see waves in the clouds, meaning they're ionizing the heavy metal particles, and then they're able to steer the clouds with frequencies. That's why you see waves of frequencies in the clouds today that absolutely make no sense. So to say that it's happening from outer space when there's a NASA employee on one of these chemtrail planes saying explicitly to a journalist, within 1 week to 1 day to 1 month's time span, we can change the Earth's climate more than all of the planes since the first flight, meaning the exhaust from all the planes since the first plane ever took off in this world. They can change the climate more in 1 day to 1 week to 1 month's time span. This is on video. This is on a chemtrail plane. They wouldn't even call it a chemtrail. They called it a contrail plane.
Why are you still talking? I
Because
answered
I'm
this.
speaking facts. I'm speaking
No,
facts.
no.
You're trying to say that this is an outer space event.
I'm sorry. Let me bring this back. Please, let me bring this back to order.
This is facts and evidence. Can you combat that?
Order in the court.
No, order. Yeah, no. When I say order, everyone has to be quiet. Now, I very much appreciate you, Real Talk. In fact, in the future, if you want to talk, I'd be happy to. I purposely sought out Mgtow Farmer.
Wait a second. I just got to say this. He's calling us Mr. Ego, but how isn't Farmer Mr. Ego? He called the two gentlemen, was it Cowboy and Polska, and myself, we all have egos. That's our ego speaking. How wasn't your ego just speaking, Farmer? Because you haven't backed it up with hardcore scientific fact. This is all conjecture. This is all hearsay.
Because when I answered the question with, why do you wear deodorant? See, now this conversation goes back to the electrical energy that I was talking about earlier. You're talking about them using metals and electrical energy. And then you're worried about the rain in Arizona. But the point—
No, I'm not worried about the rain. They're modulating our weather to create food shortages.
No, they're modulating our weather to screw with the human body.
This can make us sick, of course. Yes, this could be what really got people sick.
So can being afraid.
Yes, fear is going to bring stress, and that's going to be the highest.
So when I answer the question, you do not understand because you're operating.
But you're saying it from outer space, Farmer. You saying this is all due to outer space. This is
operating under a memory of something you knew in the past, what you knew in the past, and you're operating under without understanding what I'm telling you in the current situation is a memory. Your ego is
so history doesn't repeat itself, Farmer. It doesn't at all.
No, you're an ego and you're operating in the past.
I don't have an ego when I'm talking about facts that are verified that you can research yourself. Now show me where I can research your facts that are saying the outer space electrical changes are what's causing the weather manipulation on this planet that's taking over the human psyche and the human well-being, the welfare of our health. That is not coming from outer space.
Look up Suspicious Observer. He's Ben Davidson out of Colorado. He's been talking about this for years.
And who's to say that he isn't a distraction, isn't a paid shill?
Real talk. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Scientists are coming out with it currently, and more papers are actually turning it. The CIA has been fucking with us since the 40s on purpose, because if we knew this was coming, we would have gotten rid of them a long time ago.
Weather manipulation started in 1941.
There you go. I don't disagree with that.
But how is interstellar manipulation happening?
Real talk. I'm going to mute you if you don't allow me to moderate. You understand me?
You can moderate all you want, but I'm just saying is we have someone who's talking about egos here who is not verifying the facts. He's
But
not
Hunter,
verifying his facts.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not seeing the whole picture. He's not wrong about anything he's saying. He's absolutely right. I'm asking him, why are they doing it? And I'm explaining to him they're doing it to mess with the electrical systems of the human body. Those metals are put into people's blood to destroy the body's ability to become what we are.
and
It's not
what is
causing
that?
sickness. It's not meant to cause sickness. That's my question is.
No, it's actually meant to screw up the human body. Okay, the easiest way for me to describe this is, are you guys familiar with the MCU movies, Thor, Loki, Iron Man, Thanos, all the rest of that crap?
Yes.
Okay, those characters in those movies are us. Thor is the electrical energy in your brain. He's your higher self. Captain America is the righteous man. Iron Man has 3 movies before he joins the Avengers. 3 is a numerology thing. His power comes from a nuclear reactor in his heart. Our heart is an electromagnetic pump. All those characters, Black Widow is the mother, the comforter, magnetism. Those characters are representations of things of the human being. So when he's talking about spraying of the skies and the metal in people's body, it's because the 7 or 8 families, I've heard 7 families that run this fucking planet. When this magnetic sheet comes, those who will be first will become last, and those who are last will become first. They don't want to give up power. So he's not wrong.
When you say when you speak of these families, first off, I thought there were 13 bloodlines, so to speak.
I'm not exactly sure on the exact number, but there's a handful of families that run this fucking planet.
Yeah, do you know which ones they are? Can you name some of them?
Like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. A lot of them have money in Vanguard and BlackRock, that kind of shit.
Yeah, the Collins, the Astors,
we can't figure out where
Bundys,
they're getting the money. Yeah, we don't know where they're getting the money to spray the skies. I mean, why the fuck are they doing
Taxpayers. They'd probably be getting it from taxpayers.
Okay, let me ask you, Mgtow farmer. Can you talk about Saturn, the planet Saturn? I don't want to sound too crazy, but I've listened to David Icke before.
Yep.
And he says that Saturn is somehow integral. It's related to all this. It's integral to all of it. And you had mentioned a while ago that you had mentioned a while ago something that David Icke had said. He said that Saturn used to be our second sun. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Well, it's Star Wars. The original Star Wars, I think it's number 4. The original trilogies, the whatever planet had 2 suns. The problem is because Saturn is a large gas giant. We actually originally orbited Saturn, and it actually had ultraviolet light. We had purple light. And when Saturn is going to get hit by this energy, it's actually going to become brighter and become purple, and we're going to have a purple sun. So that's it.
I'm just curious. Where can we research this? Because it sounds as if you are on DMT, and I'm not calling you crazy, but I want to research this so I can understand. That's what I'm trying to say. Is if you could provide links in the chat, I think everyone wants to get up on this, and it's not like me trying to combat you and say you're not correct. Okay. But I would like evidence to say, okay, Farmer's correct here. He's not just blowing smoke up my ass.
Well, what are there, 8 planets or 9 planets?
Well, there were 9, but Pluto got demoted.
Cowboy, drop the link again.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember. And it's kind of one of those, you got to go suspicious observer, because he's been talking about this stuff for 3 or 4 years. And the purple about Saturn is Prince sang about it with Purple Rain. It was actually the asteroid belt was created by 2 solar systems colliding, and 2 planets actually destroyed themselves between Mars and I think Jupiter out there. And that was when we got pulled away from Saturn, and the sun became our new sun. I mean, it's fucking old knowledge that I can't prove it because I've felt it and experienced it. The 9 planets or the 8 planets in the sun represent our chakras. They even go by colors and shapes. They might even be out of order. I mean, Earth, I think, is the 7th one. Because
I've heard of that before. I've also heard that what is it, like the what's it called? The rainbow flag is like a complete inversion of that color wise or something. If you take the I'm sorry.
because
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the chakras are actually a frequency with a color and a shape coordinated to it. So you can't prove it because you gotta see it inside your own brain. So when you get the DMT production, that's actually caused by the electrical energy rewiring your brain, and it's the overflow of spinal fluid. But when you
but you understand this is extremely subjective. So if
no,
people in the chat, including myself, aren't able to reach your level of enlightenment, we're missing the point, which is subjective to your experience
you're
and
going
the
to
person which
see it. You're going to see
you're
it
going
in like 2 years.
that Saturn's going to turn purple.
It's going to start glowing. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't
Again,
planets illuminate already? I mean, how much more brighter is it going to be than what we can currently see?
Well,
is it going to increase
it was roughly
luminosity?
Yeah, it was about 15% brighter here this year than it was 3 years ago.
Wait a second, Farmer. I want to get back to my question. So you're saying all this energy is coming backwards, right? From Pluto to Uranus, then it's going to hit Saturn. Again, I asked you, what's going to happen to Jupiter, and then Mars, and then once it hits all of us? Because you seem to have this answer.
Yeah. I'm most concerned with what's going to happen to us, and what would be any warning signs?
Well, do you guys ever go out, like you're in Chicago, can you see a sunset?
Yeah,
of course.
We can't really see the stars because there's too much
light pollution.
Yeah, but you can still see the sun.
Over the last, because I mean, I'm in fucking middle of nowhere all the time. When the sun goes down, you can see all the colors of the chakras. You got a red, you got an orange, you got a green hue, you got a blue, and you got a purple straight up. Now, 3 years ago,
we talked about watching the sunset. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would just 4 years ago, we just got red or we got blue. We had a red sky at night or a red sky in the morning. Now we have all these fucking colors. What the hell's that about?
What about the lithium that's being sprayed in the sky along with those heavy metals? That's been confirmed. The lithium is what changes the sky and makes it the purple hues.
You're going to get some reflection. You're going to get reflection off these metals that will create those colors too.
No, the lithium itself is what makes that sky the reddish, pinkish, purplish. It's the lithium that's doing that color change. It's not the metals, because they weren't adding lithium until recently. Let's just say from 75 till a few years ago, there wasn't lithium being added. And what is lithium used for? To calm mental patients. Why would they want us to ingest lithium to calm us? Is it for the upcoming and impending collapse?
Well, why would they put fluoride in your toothpaste?
To dumb you down, to destroy your cognitive ability as a child, because it's most detrimental to children. So that is to dumb down the population, just like the fluoride in the water, so on and so forth. They have many ways of chemically inducing us and causing our bodies to fall apart through chemicals.
I agree with that. I remember I was speaking with Hammerhand a couple months ago. Do you know Hammerhand claims that they put what's it called, saltpeter or peter saltpeter in food in state and federal penitentiaries to make docile the population? Have you guys heard of this?
Yes, I believe it. Well,
I believe the military does it too, right?
I don't know. Otherwise known as potash. Potash.
The lithium and the fluoride actually draw electrical energy. So if you're going to brush your teeth, use baking soda, because baking soda.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I haven't. I know I sound crazy, but I don't buy toothpaste anymore. I use either just warm water, and then afterwards I use what's it called, like Listerine.
And you have less problems.
What's that? I'm sorry.
And you have less problems.
Well, I hope long term, because I hear, for example, people not regular. I forget what it's called. There's like two types of deodorant, right? I think it's called antiperspirant, which basically means
and then there's deodorant, right? One's got aluminum in it, and the other one doesn't.
Yes, exactly. And like or aluminium, whatever. It's how the British people
chemicals
say.
are spraying in the skies.
I just need to understand something, Farmer. You do understand. I want you to realize that every biological process is happening on a very small electrical scale. Every single chemical reaction, it's all electrical.
Yep.
But the electrical it would be considered quantum physics level, right?
Yep.
That's what's happening here.
Yep.
To say that it's just the you can literally use that argument to explain anything, but it does not show distinctly what is different between, if you had a different toothpaste, like a different compound that had similar electrical, let's just say you could find something that had the same electrical compound or component as fluoride. How can you prove that the fluoride itself on the biological scale, that's what I'm trying to say, is this argument that you're making is a very, very general argument. It doesn't dismiss things specifically and rule out things specifically. So you can apply it to anything. Yes, we are governed on an electrical scale, but to think that it's just, here's the thing is, they can't explain the chemistry on the biological scale when you're talking about the electricity. Quantum mechanics allows you to pinpoint where an electron most possibly will be. That is what Einstein, Max Planck, Schrodinger, where it has the highest probability of being. So for you to use this electrical argument when they themselves cannot explain what is happening on the electrical level, the people who are doing this to us, they know that fluoride is toxic to us. That's why fluoride is being used. It's not that, hey, we really care about the electrical manipulation that fluoride does. They don't care about the electrical equation. That's not what is the meat and potatoes of the specific why fluoride's being used. Yes, it's electrical. Yes, it has a different chemical reaction that causes biological degradation. But why is it fluoride, and why isn't it another compound that can do electrical things similar to fluoride? It's because in the biological scheme of things, the fluoride is more detrimental. And to say it's, just because of electricity, if they themselves, the people using it, can't explain the electricity and the electrical equation of the quantum mechanics on a biological level, they don't really care about the electrical per se. It's about the result they need for the fluoride. They need that fluoride to do something to us. And you're saying that they're hacking into our electrical system. It's all electrical, but they're using this particular compound to cause the degradation, mental degradation they need. It doesn't really matter the physical electrical equation. So you're right to an extent.
I've also heard that isn't it true? Is it fluoride? I can't remember. Doesn't fluoride calcify the pineal gland? Or is that not true?
I think it has something to do with that.
That's where the DMT is produced. Come on now.
Yeah, well, okay. Okay. So I'm using that to segue. Mgtow Farmer, I wanted you to talk a little bit more about DMT. Are you aware that you cannot drug test for DMT?
No, but I'm not too worried about it because the trace amounts that are being produced in your body or can be produced in your body aren't testable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard Joe Rogan talk about being on DMT, and some of the experiences he talks about, I've had slight experiences about. But what ends up?
Can you talk about that? Can you talk about? I mean, you don't have to. You don't. Whatever you feel comfortable with sharing. Have you used DMT? How many times?
No.
What ayahuasca? Where do you even get it?
I don't get it outside of my body. That's the trick to the whole deal. I gotta go back to, you were talking about the whole electrical energy aspect. This ties in because your brain or your brain produces spinal fluid. It's released out into the glands, into the body. It then gets pumped back up to your spine, back up to your brain. Now, if you guys can look up the third and fourth ventricles, it's important because that's where your spark of consciousness is. So when I'm talking about fluoride screwing with the electricity of the body, it's pulling the energy away from the brain. That's why they have no nut November, or they tell guys to do no fap, because when you orgasm, electrical energy leaves the brain. That's where the post nut clarity comes from, is the drop in electrical energy drops your emotions and you think clear again. So if you look up the ventricles under the pineal, spinal fluid goes up into your brain. And there's this ties into the COVID crap. You know how they're testing people for temperatures on their forehead? They're using a level
Wait. Hold on. Yes. I am aware that they do that. I'm sorry. Please excuse my ignorance. You use the word ventricle.
Yep.
I don't know what that word means. I thought a ventricle is a one of the four chambers of your heart.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Well,
too.
that is too, but the third and fourth ventricle are actually brain structures. If you look them up, it'll come up
Yeah, I've
as,
never heard that before. Okay.
and but that's, again, they want to keep you occupied in the lower body instead of up in your brain. Well, these structures in the Bible, it's referred to as the scorpion. Or are you familiar with Peter, Paul, and Mary's Puff the Magic Dragon?
Puff the Magic Dragon. I thought Puff the Magic Dragon.
I hate that song.
I thought there's only two references. I guess three. There's three references that I know. There's the song, and then I thought that refers to heroin use, like chasing the dragon.
Right. Yeah, something to do with drug use.
And I thought it also has something to do with there's a type of airplane that the United States military uses, and they call it Puff the Magic Dragon, and it will shoot 30 millimeter rounds at you at like 10,000 feet.
Oh, that's an A-10 Warthog, which is awesome. Those are all three great references. Notice the numbers.
Okay.
But anyways, the brain actually, you'll take spinal fluid up. Now, the spark of your consciousness, when ignited, it's like it's an oil lamp. It burns your spinal fluid up in your brain. The ash production inside of your brain is what calcifies to create the pineal stone, or they would call the chief cornerstone. Well, it's when you're stoned is when your flame of consciousness is burning spinal fluid, because you're a walking oil lamp. The flame burns off and you're left with like this, I don't know what you'd call it. The ash from the flame is DMT, because the spinal fluid is one molecule away from like salt water. And when it's burned off, it creates DMT in your brain. So when I talk about being stoned, I don't get DMT. My brain produces it, and you have similar effects, but not as strong to people that take DMT.
Right. See, the problem is my limited understanding of this is your body doesn't even release the DMT that it has. It only releases it supposedly when you're sleeping, and you produce it. This is what induces dreaming, the REM, REM state, and all that.
That's where you're going. Well, but then the other part is when you're sleeping, your ego is gone. Your ego is sleeping. Sure. Your memories aren't being used, so your higher self is aware, and your subconscious is using it to tell you things you need to know.
What do you think? What do you think sleep is? Are you on some sort of astral plane? Are you in a different dimension? Are you in between dimensions? I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Professor Jordan Peterson. He talks about in his clinical psychology, he has spoken with people, thousands of people over the course of his career. He talks about how he would talk with people who use DMT. And some large percentage of them, I think he estimated that about 10% of them, they claim that they see like aliens, or they're called. Terrence McKenna also speaks about this. He calls them self-transforming gnomes, these little creatures that look like 2 foot. You know what a gnome is, right? A garden gnome. Creatures. You put any stock in any of that stuff?
I can't attest to that. I have no idea. The problem is synthetic DMT is foreign to the human body, so it's going to cause different things than natural DMT. So when I'm talking about the stone that I am, that's more of your Tibetan monks or your Indian gurus. not your druggies. So it's a different kind of, like the druggies, you know, they see a lot of the tie-dyed colors and they see a lot of trippy stuff because the rate of which they uptook DMT is greater than their consciousness can handle. So this example is a good one. You know, when you guys are drinking beer and you
Sure,
drink,
we're drinking beer right now.
oh yeah, you're damn right. But when you drink too much beer, you black out. You ever done
Sure.
that? Well,
Yes, I don't. I almost never get to that point anymore.
But you-
But yes, even I can attest to, especially when, many years ago, there were instances where I would drink so much alcohol, I would literally black out. Yes.
well, your consciousness is that flame in your brain that sees things. Your eyes just take in electrical impulses, but that spark of light, which is powered by your spinal fluid, is what sees things. So when you drank too much alcohol, you poisoned your spinal fluid to where that flame actually sputtered out and you lost the ability to concentrate. So at that point, your body was operating, but you don't remember it.
Sure. I
Because
understand. Okay, I think I follow you.
basically you put 87 octane in a 103 race car.
Okay.
That's the best
Yes, very good
you can
analogy.
get. So
Can I
when
get you to comment? Can I get you to comment on something called lucid dreams? Have you ever heard of lucid dream?
people like moving around in their dreams, I think that's kind of a thing. I don't know. Some people enjoy it. I've never done it. So
Yeah, I can again I can attest to the truth of their. I've had 2 lucid dreams. I remember them both very vividly.
that's pretty cool.
A lucid dream is a dream where you wake up in the dream, or that is to say, you become conscious. You wake up. You know that you wake up while in the dream. So you're dreaming, but you wake up. So you wake up. You know that you're dreaming, but you're still dreaming. Does that make any sense?
Isn't that one of them where you can like do stuff in your dream that you'd never think you could do in reality?
Yes, both times. Okay, so I've only done it twice. Both times I became really scared because for some reason, both times I decided I wanted to fly, and I started to elevate just inches off the ground, and I started to become so scared. I woke up. Again, a lucid dream is a dream. It's a state of consciousness where you wake up, but you're still in a dream state. Basically, you wake up in your dream, and you know that you're in a dream. You're awake, but you're still dreaming. You've never heard of this? Oh, it looks like. Oh no, it's too bad. It looks like we've lost Monk Farmer.
Yeah, so we lost.
Maybe he's
High on DMT.
maybe he's meditating. No, be nice. Be nice.
No, stuff sounds great. I want some of it.
You're terrible. No, I've tried DMT. It's actually very strong. You got to be real careful with it, actually.
Did you try the synthetic form, or did you go down to South America and drink the ayahuasca tea?
Yeah,
where
right.
it's
Yeah,
natural?
right. No. Yeah, right. No, not ayahuasca. I had a friend back in university, and he knew some chemists down at SIU, Southern Illinois University, and I guess they were ahead of their time. And I don't know how to describe it. It resembles like a white, fibrous, spongy material. It looks like a hairy, spongy, white material. You put it in a crack pipe and you smoke it. And
You got some of that? Let's do it.
no, I don't have any. Although I'd be interested in getting some. You literally, it's like you're stepping into what's that thing in the what the hell is that show? Beam Me Up, Scotty. Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. You're 1 second you're here, the next second you're in a totally different dimension. I experienced something called the love lattice. So imagine
Gay.
No, you're a fucking bitch ass fag probably. But anyway, the love lattice. No, anyone could look it up. It's actually one of the most common experiences using DMT. So you smoke it, right? Imagine you're blinking, you blink once, you blink twice, you blink a third time, and you disappear, or you zap into another location. You open your eyes, you're in a totally different world. Everything looks like resembles a checkerboard. You know, like a checkerboard, like a chessboard. Everything's red,
Yeah.
red and black, and you see all these geometrical shapes. And I felt like I was on a pedestal, like you know, if you go to a car show, you'll see like a car on top of a pedestal, and the pedestal will be turning slowly, so you'll see the car spinning in front of you. It's kind of like that.
Like a showroom vehicle.
There you go, like a showroom. Yeah, like a showroom. Pedestal, and it's rotating, and a bunch of geometrical. Well, whatever. I've never experienced this. It's supposedly it's called the heroic dose. If you take the quote unquote heroic dose, as whatever, what's his name, Terrence McKenna. I'm not saying I agree with everything Terrence McKenna has to say, but you can research him. He says you can take a heroic dose and you will push through all these other dimensions, and then you reach these tiny little gnomes that are essentially like transformers. They're self-transforming gnomes, and they can speak reality, and they're very, very happy to see you, and they welcome you, and a huge community will come and surround you and say they're so happy to see you, and you human people, race, whatever, so rarely come and visit them, and all this weird shit. You can look it up. Professor Jordan Peterson talks about it at length.
Now, is this a 15-minute high? That's like
no, it's like a 30-second high.
Well, how long were you high for on the synthetic DMT?
Like 15 seconds.
That's it? I heard it was like 15 minutes. That's crazy. Because the ayahuasca, when you drink it, I guess.
Oh, that's longer. That's like hours.
Yeah, no, you throw up for like 4 hours, and then you're tripping for like 3 days straight.
I think
That's why they say people aren't the same when they come back after it. They say like you're kind of changed forever when you do it the South American tribe way, on the natural tip.
Yeah, right. I mean,
you know what, Cowboy? I actually have a story about the DMT. I've never actually done it, but my buddy and I, remember the thing I invited you over to the last Tuesday meal where they have the smoked sandwiches at the place in Berwyn?
yes.
So me and my buddy were there. It was probably about 2 years ago, and we're just sitting there after work. It's 5:30, and we go there to get the sandwiches. And the guy next to us turns out to be a magician.
A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
No,
I'm sorry,
a magician, an actual magician, right?
Yes.
Like a Vegas paid magician who works, kind of like
a professional musician.
And it turns out the guy actually went to grammar school with my buddy. So we got to talking and stuff like that, and he starts doing all these card tricks and all this magic tricks and shit like that. And then he was telling us the story about how he got his Vegas gig, and he was saying he was fucked up on DMT, and he lives down in Florida, right? And he said he took it, and he said that the high, and I think Joe Rogan talks about this too, where like it lasts very, very, very short, But he said he was like fucked up in another dimension, and he was in his like patio around his pool, and an alligator came and talked to him when he was high on this fucking DMT, and it was a crazy ass story. But when he came out of it, he said it was like fucking not even like 3 minutes later. And he could swear that he was like, dude, it's like I was in this other place for days. It was like time stood still and shit like that.
Sure.
And then he did a bunch of awesome magic tricks at the bar for us, and we had the meatball sandwiches.
That sounds. I'm sure you enjoyed those balls a lot. But anyway, yeah, right. Now it's all very fascinating. So not now just because I have you. If you real talk, if you want to, give us your spiel. You sounded very impassioned about. I almost felt I was starting to get upset with you because I felt like you were were talking over a farmer, and I don't particularly like that. But if you want to take a minute and give us your spiel, what do you think is going on?
I don't have any beliefs. I don't think beliefs are a valid thing to have in this world. Facts, evidence. That's all I really rely upon. Now, if you want me to know tell you what's happening in this world, there's a lot of evidence pertaining to the destruction of mankind in a systematic fashion. Now, who's responsible for such?
What I would say is I love using I'm sorry, not the apophatic method. I forget what it's called. It's one of the ways that I learned to communicate in learning getting a classical liberal education. Tell people what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So in 20 seconds, in 40 seconds, tell us, like, give us a quick summary. You can't go into every detail. Like if I were to explain to you, let's say, I don't know, if I were to explain to you,
I could say it in 20 seconds for you.
If I could explain to you how a child is born, I don't have 10 minutes to explain to you, intercourse, and then, spermatozoa and copulation and inception and then gestation. No, a man and a woman love each other. They come together and a baby is born. So give it to me short, and then give it to me long, and then give it to me short.
The universal religion is the religion of blind belief. If we can blindly believe in anything without evidence proof, we can be led off of a cliff. And that's what's happened to society. We are blind believers. We don't rely upon evidence and knowledge in the knowing. It's all about belief systems. And that is exactly why we are in this position in 2020.
Okay, that's a good intro. And then can you actually before you continue on? There's another guest that jumped in. Is this is it Blaxican? Blaxican?
Correct, Maddie the cowboy, right? Am I speaking to?
This is Mgtow Cowboy.
Oh, excuse me about that. Yes,
That's
Mgtow
okay.
Cowboy. This is Blackskin. I think I called in last week to your stream.
Did you?
Yeah, with the Hormaxer. Hormaxer was on there, and QB Willie, and some other friends, self-made.
Oh yeah. Now I remember you.
Was he the one on camera?
Is that QB Flexin? Are you also QB Flexin?
Can you read my name on there? Underneath what it says? It says it says Blaxican. Yeah, I'm Blaxican.
Blaxican 3000 on IG.
Okay. Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not QB. Yeah.
I like that name, man. That's a cool name.
Yeah, man.
Are you? Am I to understand are you half black and half Mexican by any chance?
I mean, to be right and exact, 50% Malian and 27% Spanish and 10% Colombia, with a couple other things in there. Yeah, so yeah.
That's very specific.
That's a very specific breakdown.
According to that, what they call that, ancestry.com, but who knows what the hell's going on with that.
Oh, I see. Oh, you did a 23 and me? Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, very good. You don't speak Spanish by any chance, do you?
Un poquito.
Oh, that's too bad. I've lost all respect for you. Go ahead. Please introduce
yourself. Well, that's fine. I never really had that much respect for you. That's why I'm trying to get on here.
Go.
No, I was kidding. Just kidding. You went to a Jesuit school, right? Am I correct? Remember we talked about that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Great. No, I heard. Nice to meet you, sir. I don't know your name. Is it real link or
real talk? What's going on, man?
Real talk. What's up, bro? Yeah, it caught my eye, man. You're talking about DMT. My ears were ringing.
I don't have any experience with it. Yeah, I don't have any experience, but I've researched the two different types, and if I were to do it, I would definitely trip for 72 hours if that is what it took, or what it takes.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, the natural ayahuasca down in South America, when they extract it from the root, it's not the synthetic form, so the uptake by the body is going to be much more proficient, you could say.
Yeah, with the MEO inhibitor, right?
Hey guys,
I haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't mind, hey, real talk. I want to see how far down the rabbit hole you go. All right. So you're talking about the geoengineering and the chemtrails, right?
Yeah, it just is called geoengineering because they got a bunch of tools in their tool belt to affect the weather, the atmosphere. But I could give you guys a really prime example because you guys are in Chicago, correct?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I see the
I'm in Asia.
in the sky a lot.
I know Blaxican 3000. Yeah, I was talking to Mgtow and Polska Bob. They're on the stream together.
Oh, from Chicago. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, because this is what happened. Now, you guys remember the Jesse Smollett thing where he supposedly
Yes,
with the subway and it was
vortex. Yes.
Yeah, it was negative 21 degrees in Chicago for like 5 days straight. I was in Ohio at the time. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was in Ohio at the time, and it was about -5 for 5 days in a row. Now you got to ask yourself, getting down the negatives, it happens, but does it happen consistently day after day to where you're in an Arctic tundra? I've never experienced it in my life, in my 31 years, and I highly doubt anyone's experienced the worst of the worst cold consistently day after day after day with no fluctuation. It's kind of like you were literally in the coldest place on Earth.
Actually, real. We've had bouts of like 4 or 5 days where it's been sub-zero temperature-wise here for probably maybe 4 or 5 times over the past like 15 years. So it actually does happen here. But specifically where the great French actor Jussi Smollett was, he was on the Gold Coast, and that's a neighborhood where all the skyscrapers are on the lakefront. And the wind chill, if you know anything about Chicago, if it's sub-zero, it's actually like -40 below because of the wind chill.
That's pretty cold, man. That's what they call it, the Windy City, right? Part of the reason.
Right. So where he was
and the shit talkers.
To say that he was going out at 2 a.m. Okay, to a 24-hour subway, which we do have those here. There's one next to my bar that I usually hit. Okay, it does happen, but it was so fucking cold out. There's no way a celebrity would be out in that fucking weather at 2 a.m.
Well, yeah, I was just pertaining to like how it was -20 like 5 days in a row, like with no fluctuation. It's kind of odd because the same thing was happening in Ohio and other places in the Midwest. My point is this: it was proven through radar systems. For instance, this gentleman Mike Morales, who has a YouTube channel studying the weather geoengineering. He shows you at the beginning of December, or towards, I think it was beginning or end of December, I can't remember, but the Jesse Smollett thing happened, what was it, the beginning of February when that cold spell came? I'm trying to get the dates, but it was like about a month before the extreme cold came. Mike Morales was showing you up in if you were to look across from, what was it, the Bering Strait where Alaska is?
Yeah.
If you were to look across where you have like it would be whatever Russia, China, whatever area is up there. I don't know. I'm not the best picturing the map right now, but he showed that the
Arctic Circle.
Yeah, it was close to the Arctic Circle. Now, what dictates winter? It's when the polar vortex is circulating around the North Pole. That's when we're in winter in the northern hemisphere. Now, what they did was they artificially heated the sky way up close to the North Pole, close to what was it, the damn phrase I just used? They heated the sky close to the North Pole, and they kept heating the sky for almost 30 days straight. And Mike Morales shows you the radar maps because he has ways of looking at CO2, carbon monoxide. He has ways of looking at particulate in the air. There's these different filters. This guy uses open source satellites to study the weather. Open source satellites that universities use for their meteorology department. So he basically uses open source tools to study this. And he showed you that for almost a month straight, they were artificially heating the sky. And what did that cause? The polar vortex?
So real talk, they harped it, is what you're saying.
No, they didn't harp it. Harp has been pretty much decommissioned. That's like let's just put it like this. Harp is like weather manipulation on a carburetor. The new tools they have is direct electronic fuel injection. HARP is what got the deterioration of the atmosphere going. And the new tools that they have, such as the next generation radar, the ionospheric heaters, and so forth, they even have ways of spraying the chemicals from huge cargo ships now. So essentially, they have more.
I heard the technology went down from what HARP originally was, that big giant field in Alaska, down to vehicles that they can actually shoot anywhere.
Well,
they miniaturized the technology so much that they can pretty much microburst any spot they want.
Well, they don't need to necessarily microburst. Once they came up with the next generation radar, where they use the heavy metal ionized particles to steer the clouds, HARP is pretty much what got the party started. It's not like they're using the old technology of HARP. They've improved the technology. It would be, okay, HARP is like a Pentium 4 processor, and the new shit that they have is like the i7 processor. Okay. If I were to make a comparison. So basically what I'm saying is they use ionospheric heaters to artificially heat an area very close to the North Pole that was up in northern Russia, China area. And this caused the polar vortex to literally dip down and park itself over the United States. The coldest air in the world was over the Midwest during that time. I think it was 2018 when this took place, or 2019. And he shows you, he goes literally a certain elevation up in the sky. When it was negative 21 in Chicago, he goes up a few hundred, if not like 1,000 feet, because this is the radar technology, like the open source satellites and systems that the guy has at his disposal. He shows that when you start to raise up in the air, the real temperature of the Arctic polar vortex was a negative 121 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you went from the ground in Chicago, where it was negative 21, and you went straight up and you kept going up, they literally parked that polar vortex over the United States. And that's how they were able to do that. It sounds like it could happen natural.
You know what? I remember watching the Weather Channel, stuff like that, and that vortex did not move for almost a week. I think it was like 8 days or something. Yeah, I do remember that.
In order to make it not move, they had to keep pumping heat into the ionosphere where it was close to the North Pole, because you got to think, if it's hot up there artificially when it's not supposed to be, that's going to make that vortex move around. That's not naturally occurring. So when they can artificially heat the sky up, and when I say heat the sky, I'm talking like down in Chile, there's a small town. I'm not even going to call it a town. It's a huge fucking satellite antenna that takes up the area of a small town, and it has over 1 billion watts of energy at its disposal. So they're literally beaming energy up into the sky like HARP, but in a more concentrated fashion and in a more like controllable fashion. I think HARP, they could beam it into the sky, but I don't think they had it as fine-tuned as they do the new tools, like the more improved processor.
Hey, Real, are you talking about SETI?
What's that word again? I'm sorry.
It's an acronym, SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Yeah, are you talking about that thing?
No. I've never heard of what you guys are describing, but I do know there's an ionospheric heater, because Mike Morales, he goes across the globe and he shows you where these heaters are. He shows you where the ships are spraying. He shows you where the artificial chemtrails are being sprayed. I would check him out.
Rio, let me bring you back for a second. So what's your point? What are you saying? Are you saying our own governments are conspiring against us to make us docile? Is it just about
Not our
money,
own government, not our own governments. This is a worldwide effort. When this gentleman shows you the chemtrail planes, their routes, you'll see a plane go through Mexico and go through the United States. You'll see a plane start in the United States and continue its way through Canada. So these are world governments working in conjunction to modify our weather.
And what's the end? What's the end game? One world government? They want to,
Oh, it's already there. COVID proved a one world. It would be nice if we could get a direct answer from these people, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to make every facet of our existence deteriorate. So,
who are you talking about, sir? Excuse me, I've been trying to ask you a question. Like when you say they,
I'm talking about the people who run this world, the small select few who run this world.
Yeah, the 0.001%. The
bankers.
If I were to give you guys an example,
Jews,
I'll give you. No, don't. I'm not going to say no. That's a lot of people like to use the bankers.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask when you say they, just to be clear. I'm curious myself.
Okay, so when I say they, let me give you two prime examples. So, do you guys remember what started World War I?
Franz Ferdinand, right?
Franz Ferdinand's assassination. Now, in the history books, we were never showed, and they didn't highlight the car that he got assassinated in. The license plate is very interesting. Now,
I remember this.
Yeah,
Real
exactly.
talk. Doesn't the license plate have 9/11's date on it?
No. This is very interesting. It's similar to 9/11 or something like that. But do you guys remember what the end date of the end of World War I that day? Do you remember what it was referred to as?
Oh, Armistice Day.
Armistice Day. And do you guys remember what
it
day
has
that fell on?
date? The license plate has that date.
Exactly. Now, that's one interesting point. Now, when there was a Black Lives Matter car that debuted in NASCAR when they banned the Confederate flag. I'm pretty sure they had a Black Lives Matter car and they banned the Confederate flag on the same day. The next day, the Dow Jones Industrial dropped 1,861 points. That's the start date of the Civil War. So when I say they, I'm talking about the people that can pull things like that off. They can literally put the end date of World War I on the license plate of the event that started it off. They can literally make the Dow Jones drop an almost exact number of points. I don't know if it was 1861 and some change. I don't think it was exactly 1861, but I do remember 1861 is what the Dow Jones dropped that next day. Now, who could possibly make that happen? I can't put a face to it. I can't necessarily put an organization. So when I say they, I'm talking about those people who can make shit like that clearly is not a fucking coincidence. I don't care who you are. You can't say that's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
All these symbolic things.
So they are those people.
Yeah, exactly. The true powers, not the presidents, not the bankers. Yeah. These are monsters. These people could be 400 years old.
The shadow players, as Mr. Astute Trends calls them, the shadow players.
Hey, real talk. You remember when we talked on the stream the other night and we were talking about, I used the metaphor is like the vampire can't enter your house unless you invite him. And remember we were talking about predictive programming.
Yeah, you were hitting on a lot of really good points on that stream.
You know what? I totally forgot about the license plate from Franz Ferdinand. It does have the fucking date of the Armistice Day on it.
It's incredible, but we're not taught those things. Think about that. They don't want to teach us those things in slave school because that would, and it's public indoctrination slave school, tax cattle school, fill your head with bullshit and lies school.
It could also just be a coincidence, though, no?
No, it's not a coincidence.
No, it's a coincidence. What's with the coincidence is that guy that was on the live right now, that picture magical, what that guy, he's actually, you guys were talking about DMT. He's actually one of the prolific YouTubers who's always experimenting with DMT. Did he introduce himself? That guy? Yeah, that's him right there. I knew who you were. You're that DMT guy, right?
Yeah, man.
Among other things.
I've never
You never seen this guy before? Oh my God, he's prolific.
Who is he?
I don't know.
You
Partner, you care to make yourself known?
Wild Man Ganja. on.
Yeah, that's him.
So,
The DMT guy, ganja guy. Yeah.
You sound almost starstruck.
Yeah, man. It's just, you don't. I mean, Tom, Mgtow Cowboy. Like when you play this back, you're gonna see. Check this guy's credentials. You're gonna be like, "Fuck, man." We were talking about DMT, and we got one of the goats.
Cheers.
When it comes to entheogens.
Well, I almost feel starstruck, but I've had like 4 beers now, so I chemically can't. Hey, Bob,
I don't mean to dick right or anything, but like he's a legend. He's a legend.
Bob, can you plug this in to the one over there? So I'm at like 3%. I don't want to die.
You're gonna die, dude.
Anyway, okay. Well, I guess let's give this you speak very highly of him. Maybe we'll give him a chance to talk. Wild Man Ganja. Wild Man Ganja, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Wild Man Ganja. Again, I've never heard of you. I've smoked ganja back in college.
I used to smoke a lot of weed.
Can you talk to us for a minute and illuminate us with whatever it is that's on your mind?
Oh, for sure. I was just listening. I love it. You guys are spot on. All the great stuff. Although,
okay. Do you have anything to say about DMT?
Oh, I have lots to say about that.
What? No. I want to get into DMT. Okay, so
Got some right now.
Well,
can you grab me a beer when you get back?
Yeah, sir. You want one out?
Yeah, sure, bro. So yes, right. That's actually my favorite beer, Corona, or it's I'm half Mexican. Yes, excellent. However, Wild Man Ganja, I do not observe a slice of lime in there. Shame on you.
Oh, there's a lime in there. I squeezed a lime juice.
Oh, there is? Okay.
This is all lime juice.
Oh, well. Oh, wow. Okay. That's one step ahead of me. You just straight up puree it. Very good for you. Okay.
I got a burrito going on, so I'm just drinking a beer with my lime juice.
Excellent. Where are you from? Where are you from, Wild Man Ganja?
Oh man, I'm up in the Santa Cruz area of California, Monterey Bay.
Okay,
nice.
Great.
You ever heard of Santa Cruz? It's a pretty notorious spot. A lot of hippies and stuff. A lot of vibe.
Yeah, definitely. When I think of California, I just think of a long string of cities just running straight up from the north to the south. In the north, ending in like, what is it, Humboldt County, where they grow all the really, really good weed.
Yeah,
all the way, he smiles. What's it? All the way to the south, it was San Diego.
Oh, you know,
there you go.
We got the best weed out here in Cali. We grow it. I've been growing weed. I'm a second generation farmer myself, so shout out to all them ganja farmers. Praise from the karma being I. Shout out to the ganja. Shiva I.
All that.
So what's
your thoughts on DMT?
DMT, I love DMT because what you want to know about DMT? What you want to know about it?
Like the gentleman was talking about ayahuasca and like how you can get high off for many, many hours compared to
The synthetic form.
4-MeO or whatever.
Can you give us a breakdown between the synthetic and the all natural, your experiences, all of that? Because I think we're all interested.
I'll give you 3 choices. You can make it yourself. Get the synthetic version. You break it down from mimosa bark or some acacia plant, anything that contains DMT, and then you get the powder, and then you can smoke that freebase style to go straight DMT, straight to the blood-brain barrier. That's the 3-hit method blast-off technique that a lot of people are commonly using vaporization pain for. You could do, or you can do the ayahuasca ceremony, because ayahuasca is the ceremony where you're combining a root and a leaf, the chacruna leaf, the ayahuasca vine, and the combined substances with a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, so that your gut can actually absorb the DMT. So you drink the brew, and you can absorb the DMT and have an oral DMT experience where it's a long journey. It's like taking mushrooms. And mushrooms, that's the third choice. Because mushrooms is basically DMT, but it's like 5-phosphoroxy DMT. It's another molecule. It's very similar, but in high doses, when you eat mushrooms, it's got everything inside it already to take you to the levels where you're just basically one molecule away from DMT itself. So
Okay.
but
let me ask you
the same journey where you're basically gonna be uploaded with information and also going through an experience, which is kind of like the near-death experience. The near-death experience and the DMT ayahuasca mushroom psychedelic experience is all very similar. The trip is you're confronting, you're baptizing yourself in the surrendering to the death experience. And the death experience, there's two kinds. You can do it through these beautiful gifts we have, all these magical entheogens, specifically ayahuasca and DMT and mushrooms. Or you can actually die. And actually dying, we don't know. But we actually have these substances that give us a presentation of what it might be to die. And there's lots of cultures who've been writing it down, especially the Egyptians. They were really super stoked on the whole reincarnation process and what happens after death. Same thing with the Christians. Same thing with like rituals. Same things when you go to the Hindus and Jesus Christ probably himself was all was fasting and going through very, very hardcore rituals and eating entheogens to find out and discover and go through what it is, the process of dying. But the process of dying is basically what you're going for, to learn what that is. DMT shows you. Mushrooms will show you. Ayahuasca will show you. But it's real deep. It's many layers. It's not just like, it's not like here you go, this is what it is. You're gonna have, for everybody, there's a lot of different things going on. I mean, there's shadow work involved. There's dieting. There's how much.
Okay, well, let me if I may, if I may, let me ask you some rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire.
What kind of drugs have you used? Have you used marijuana? I'm assuming yes.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Cannabis is a full-on situation in my life for sure, and since before I was even born, because my father was a cannabis farmer. So
okay.
No doubt,
have you ever?
I was born under the substance. I was born under the substance.
It was in your bloodstream before you were even on the earth. Okay. What about cocaine? Have you tried cocaine?
I've tried coke. Yeah, no, just because I wanted to try it, not because
No, it's okay. It's okay. I never tried coke. I never tried coke, but when it comes to certain, I think that drugs, almost all drugs, if they shouldn't be legal, at the very least they should be decriminalized. I mean, we can get into that later. I'm just, I'm a little bit, I'm a hardcore conservative when it comes to some things, including like international politics, fiscal matters. But I'm a little bit more liberal when it comes to some social matters, like I think marijuana should be totally legal. I don't care what any.
I think all drugs should be legalized for victimless crime.
It's a victimless crime. Yeah, who's the victim? You smoke a joint. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, the war on drugs has been a nightmare. We've spent how many trillions of dollars to fight a plant, and the plant is winning.
Well, but a lot of
war on people.
Yay!
It is. That's what it is. Real talk.
A lot of lawyers made a lot of money though, so you know they might disagree with you. A lot of judges.
No. The CIA makes a lot of money on keeping drugs illegal. Okay.
Okay. So so you've tried coke, you've tried weed. Obviously, you have experimented with Corona beer. Have you ever tried heroin?
You know what? That's funny. It depends on how you envision it, because I've never put it in a syringe and shot it in my veins, but I have.
Okay.
I've had like lots of those opiate pills. I've had Percocet, hydrocodone. I've had morphine. I actually went to the hospital and they actually did shoot me with morphine under one occasion, which is a pretty cool story. I had no idea. I had no idea that they were going to do that at the time, because I went in there for some sort of like inflamed. I probably had like probably had a yeast infection from being pretty, I was partying and having a lot of sex with women with probably no condoms and stuff. But I went to I couldn't pee. I woke up and I couldn't pee. I couldn't urine. I could not piss. And so my bladder was like getting more and more inflamed. And I went to the hospital because I thought I was my guts were gonna blow up. And these the doctors had to put a catheter up my dick.
Yes.
But it was too painful. So they were like, I was like, is there anything we could do for pain? And they just came in and shot me with morphine. And I was like, oh, sweet. But then afterwards, I was like super high on this stuff, and I was like, whoa, so this is what it's like. And I was like, I didn't know I was going to have that experience. So I was like, all right, so this is what morphine's like. And
okay. So let's move on. Let's move on from opioids. What about I'm sorry, just because I'm more interested in this in psychedelics. I understand some people take drugs for recreation.
Absolutely.
But I also like the idea of taking drugs for let's raising your consciousness, expanding your consciousness.
That's what I love about it, because when you're exploring drugs and you're trying them out, you're doing it just because you want to know, what does this do to me? You're trying out an experience. It's like when you're walking around an amusement park and you want to know, what does this ride? How cool is this ride? Is this fun? Is this scary? What is this like? You're looking for an experience, and drugs are an experience, man. So you want to know what it does to you. Like when you drink a beer, you're like, all right, what is going to happen when you first try alcohol when you're 21, or maybe when you're 18 or younger? Because usually when usually people drink when they're younger than 21. But you do it because you just want to know what is going on. What do those people experience when they're drunk? I want to know what being drunk is like. So at the same rate, now you want to know what being high is like on this substance, marijuana, this substance, cocaine, this substance, heroin, and then it's not necessarily a bad thing to do drugs, because you're exploring what do they do.
Yeah, you got to drop it again as well.
If you can figure out what you're searching for and what all those experiences are, you're basically at Baskin Robbins and you're trying to figure out what's your favorite flavor. What kind of experience do you like? And therefore there's an exchange. You get to learn more about yourself and how you interact with this world, which is multi-conscious, multi-dimensional, always changing, ever adapting. And we got to keep up, whoever you are and wherever you are. And if you need to use some substance to grow and expand your learn something through an experience grow your consciousness, especially with these entheogenic a lot of substances. I mean, not just drugs, but entheogens specifically. Yeah, psychedelics are super mind expanding, consciousness, soul.
Can you talk about that again? I related numerous times. Probably other times that you were not on the stream. So I've used. Did you hear me tell my story of using DMT?
No, I never heard that one. Didn't hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So to reiterate it, hold on a second. Give me 5 seconds to complete. I'm dropping the link again.
Oh shit.
S5. Very good. Okay, that's from Mgtow Forever. Mgtow Forever, I saw you. I saw you just come in. Welcome. And if you want to call in, please call in. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ganja. By the way, what can I call you? Ganja man, guru, hippy dippy,
Call me
California
the wild
love,
man.
wild man,
I was gonna say awesome beard, dude.
awesome beard, dude. Yeah. We all have beards.
Can we
here.
call you Marine? Marine?
Oh, hell yeah, you can call me Marine.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your service, sir.
Hoorah, Semper Fi. I'm here for you, do or die.
Wow, you seriously? You were a Marine?
Yes, sir.
Wow. I usually associate Marines with being very closed-minded individuals, very strict in their in certain codes of behavior. But
Yeah, I'd agree with that when you first judge a person by the military. But most people are basically people, even in the military. They're the same as you and me.
yeah. Anyway, so to share that story again, make a long story short, this was many years ago, probably, I don't know, 14 years ago, 15 years ago. I had a friend. He was a very good friend. He went to high school with me, and I went to Loyola University. He ended up going to SIU, or Southern Illinois University, in Carbondale. And down there, he basically made a ton of friends, some of which were in like what is it called, chemistry. They were in the chemistry department. Nice. And they made DMT, and I tried it for the first time. Cool. And I experienced something called the love lattice. So imagine I'm sitting on his couch. He's sitting on his bed. We're in his bedroom. He's sitting on his bed. I'm sitting on his couch. I'm essentially smoking what looks like a crack pipe with this like fluffy white spongy looking material. I smoke it, and whatever 3 maybe 4 seconds afterwards, almost instantaneously, I get zapped into another reality. Everything was red and black and red, like a checkerboard. And I'm seeing all these weird geometric shapes. And I felt like I was on a pedestal, a rotating pedestal. And and then it was very quick. It didn't last like an hour. It lasted like 60 seconds or 40 seconds, and then it was over. But my friend CJ says that you can take heavier doses and you can go whatever. I've heard wild things. I've heard people say that you can meet these self-transforming gnomes and aliens and weird things like this. I don't know if any of that's true.
Very true.
It's all true. Why do you call it love lattice? Did you experience like a loving feeling, or you had this experience?
I just remember looking it up, and then
I
think I remember looking it up, and I hear it's commonly called the love lattice.
I saw grids when I smoked it the first time, like a grid pattern everywhere.
The grids and the geometry that appear before you.
Can you Blaxican, can you talk about that for a second? You've also tried DMT?
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times. Yeah,
Can you tell us about it? What
The first time that I took it, I felt like I was like catapulted on my body, and I smoked it out of that. I guess you can, like a meth pipe, like you were talking about, Cowboy. And that was crazy because I felt like I was being pulled out of my body, and I went through like a flower, a mandala, and not too long after that, I must have lasted maybe like a minute or something like that. I came to, and I just wanted to hug the girl that gave it to me. I couldn't have any words. Like I couldn't get my sentence together. I had no syntax or whatever. It was all out of whack, right? And that was the first time I took it. The second time it was in Santa Cruz. I took some weed and I sandwiched it with DMT on the beach and smoked it. And that's when I saw the grid pattern. And it would look like a drafting architect when you draft out the plans. And there was like grids everywhere, bro. And there's like, it went into infinity. And this, yeah, man, it was the trippiest thing I ever experienced until years later, because you can make your ayahuasca too. I mean, it's called pharmahuasca. I made some at my house, and my trip lasted maybe about 3 or 4 hours. And I was seeing like how my mind seemed like it was like a computer, and there was files everywhere. And whatever I put my attention to, I could watch the the computer
Wait,
apparatus.
Wait, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There was what everywhere? There were clouds everywhere?
No. It's files everywhere, and he
Oh,
could
files.
Files, FILE.
Yeah.
Okay. There was huge files everywhere, and it was like the computer was using like a robotic arm to retrieve whatever I put my attention to, and it would retrieve those files, and I would instantly be in that situation, that slice of life. And it was cool at first, but then I started to think about like shit that was troubling me in my waking life, and it was just like too much, bro. And yeah, man, and a lot of vomiting, purging, and whatnot. Yeah.
So you kind of had a bad trip, is what you're saying.
Now I believe there's no bad trips because you can learn something from everything, but definitely was a lot of vomiting. Not my favorite thing to do. I must have threw up maybe like at least like 30 times in that 3 hours.
That's
the purge.
But that's part of ayahuasca.
You got to.
You know what? I got a question for you. You said you made it. How do you make it?
Yeah, I was gonna say if any of you guys know how to make it, I want to get at you.
I don't.
If you could drop
I don't endorse this or condone it. Like, but I'll say that you can look it up online. Say how to make DMT, how to make ayahuasca. It's on YouTube.
Where would you recommend? Where would you recommend going? Like Arrowwood? Is Arrowwood gonna have this?
Arrowwood has it, but there's literally tutorials on YouTube everywhere how to make it.
Okay. Okay. I got a. What do you make it out of?
Well, Mama Ninja mentioned earlier, you got to have that acacia bark. Like I use the acacia confucius bark. You can buy it online or at your head shop. Some head shops have it, and then you use that along with some other chemicals you can get at Home Depot and at the grocery store. And you can make it.
Gasoline.
Yeah, you do it in mason jars.
Yeah, you can do it in a mason jar.
Yeah, I had a buddy in college who would. I think what you're describing, he would make it in mason jars.
Look. Yeah, he has it right there. Look.
You need one of these.
Yeah, check that out, boys.
You need a crock pot. Okay.
Wait, not a crock pot. You need a pressure cooker?
No, just a crock pot.
Okay.
Vinegar, distilled white vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're gonna need a funnel.
Oh wow! Look at this. We got a step-by-step here, boys.
Now we're.
Hey, cowboy, you should clip this and put that on your channel later. Make some money.
Oh man.
Fry pan. Alright. And then what you're gonna need? You're gonna need some of this stuff right here. It's called.
What is that?
This is.
Are they acacia?
Calcium carbonate.
Oh.
No, I'm just fucking with you. I don't even know what it is.
It is called
calcium carbonate. That's
this is the salt.
They call them soda. It's called it. There's another name, soda something, like something soda, right? The common name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, baking soda?
Calcium,
Not baking soda, something else similar.
Hydrosat. Yeah, this is funny because it's
Percocet. Molly Percocet. Molly Percocet.
No Percocet, but you definitely need this stuff. It's like pickling lime.
Yeah, lime.
Oh, lime.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some chemistry going on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
And we got Breaking Bad going on here.
Calcium hydroxide.
More like Albert Hoffman.
Yeah.
Hey, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I think I see the DEA at his back door.
The DA gets high too on DMT.
Then you need this stuff right here. Okay, it's called naphtha.
NAFTA, yeah. Home Depot, boys.
Solvent thinner.
Paint thinner. I knew it.
That's awesome. Solvent and thinner. There you go.
You got to extract the DMT with that.
Now the process, though, that's where you're gonna have to figure that out by yourself. So I'm just showing you.
Sure.
Purge that shit out. So.
He's showing you how to fish.
Is there a chance of us dying making it?
No, there isn't.
No, man.
Lighting your,
then you
lighting
know
your
what?
kitchen on fire, but You should.
Oh
definitely
no!
have
If
a
you light
fire
your kitchen on
extinguisher by
fire,
you.
then there's a chance of us dying. That's probably what makes it so much fun.
But
is you
not
can
really.
die.
If
Some
you
of the
can
fun.
hey, it's a common joke. It's a common joke that if you can bake a cake, you can make DMT.
Yeah. Dude,
I
you
wanna
guys, if I
ask-
can do it, you guys can do it, bro.
Yeah.
The guy went to Loyola, Mad Cowboy went to Loyola. He definitely could be able to
Cowboy,
make
what
it.
are you doing next week?
I'm buying some. I'm going to Home Depot.
We're getting some solvents.
I wanna ask the panel a question. Do you guys think that they systematically, when they created the first like federal drug action, I think the guy who ran it, his name was Henry J. Anslinger. This is like early 30s, I believe, when they were going after marijuana. Do you guys think that they demonized marijuana with the reefer madness and all that other things because it would have opened up our pineal gland?
Absolutely.
That was a great movie. I saw that movie. My favorite scene in the movie. There's a man sitting at a piano and he's smoking weed, and you can clearly tell he's going manic. He's becoming manic. He's saying faster, faster, dance faster. From my experience, that's not at all how people behave when they smoke a joint. They're actually
propaganda.
It's propaganda.
Reefer madness. That's so.
Yeah,
That's called propaganda.
Exactly. I just have a theory that they had to go after marijuana because that would have opened up people's minds way before the internet. You know, people would have been able to question things more, and they would have had like a different level of like their intuitiveness would have been geared to like see things or to see past what was being presented to them. I kind of feel as if they systematically went after weed early to make sure that people would kind of be docile and sound asleep.
Well, think about it. If they said it right away, marijuana is a gateway drug. Of course it is, because if you try marijuana, well, then you're going to want to try cocaine, and you're going to want to try something else. You're going to want to try.
It's true. I did. I went to rehab at 14.
See, yeah. Once you try it, and then you're like, well, I want to know what this feels like, and then it just leads on to another thing, and that's not a bad thing, but they labeled it as like, no, this is where you don't want to do. You don't want to go down this rabbit hole. But trust me, you do want to go down that rabbit hole.
And I did too.
Because all of us who did go down that rabbit hole found out there's a lot of great stuff down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm too old for that shit now, though.
Never too old to get high, have fun.
I've done it. I've done almost everything besides meth and heroin.
Can you please talk to us, Guru? I'll call you the Guru Marine.
Sure.
Can you talk to us a little bit about some of your trips on DMT? What type were you using? A chemical version? Were you using ayahuasca, peyote? What you saw? Any experiences?
Sure. Sure. Let's see. I'll start with my first time I ever smoked DMT was after I got it from a friend, and I had heard Joe Rogan talking all about it many, many years ago, and I knew a lot of comedians talking about it, and I was definitely listening to Terrence McKenna talk about it, and I was like, all right, I want to know what this is about, and I know you got to take 3 good solid hits, but I was like, let's just see what happens when I take 1 hit. So my first time, I loaded my DMT. I had a dab rig, and because I smoke hella weed, so I had a dab rig, and I'm like, well, perfect way to do it is smoke it through the dab rig.
Wait. I'm sorry. What is it? What is a dab? Is that a chillum? Is that another word for a chillum?
No, chillum. This is a dab rig, all right.
Oh, okay. A water pipe.
Water pipe, but you're gonna use a torch, and you're gonna load your medicine right here into this glass piece right here that can sustain high heat, and it
Aha.
Vaporizes, because you don't want to burn the DMT. It vaporizes the DMT, and you
Right,
take it.
right. Now my father, he was a Chicago police officer for 32 years. His favorite word when he would pull over hippies is narcotics. We got narcotics here. Can I get an extra unit? We got narcotics here. Go ahead.
Well, DMT is not narcotics for sure. But when you're smoking DMT, the spirit molecule, you can vaporize it out of simple. Here's another way to do it is out of this simple type of device right here.
Yeah, that's what I use. That's called a crack pipe.
It's because you can smoke crack out of it, but you can also smoke incense out of it. You can smoke oils. You can vaporize eucalyptus oil in this if you want.
Right. And
it's just a fucking mechanism to burn oil to vaporize it.
With the power shop.
Now, when you smoke DMT, it melts down to an oil and then vaporizes. So you can smoke DMT out of one of these, but it's gonna leave all your lips and your lungs a little bit tingly because it's such a weird chemical to ingest when you're smoking it freebase style. So I mean, through a dab rig with no water, actually, no water in the dab rig. That's a good way to get an actually large amount in your lungs without having to take 3 hits. So as I was saying, my first time I smoked it, immediately I knew exactly what to look for. Just closed my eyes and I saw the chrysanthemum that Terrence McKenna talks about. Geometrical patterns, just a big old doorway, a gateway, a wormhole of light geometrical patterns. And you go shooting through that thing, and then there you are in another dimension. And there's no way to describe this other dimension, but I met this entity that leaned down, put his thumb right in my forehead, and kind of lifted up my eye and was kind of like, "Do you see me?" And I'm like, "Oh, I see you." And then he took his thumb off my head and smiled and waved bye, and that was it. Real quick. That was his first time. But I've definitely smoked it at least 50 times now. So,
is it true? Unless I'm confusing myself, is it true you're not supposed to use it often, like every day? It's only a periodic or something because like it drains from your body. It's like getting high. I'm sorry.
No, because it's a psychedelic. It'll work on your psychology. If you want to smoke it immediately 10 minutes after, try another big go for it. But if it was so intense that you don't want to smoke it for another 5 years, then that's another experience people get.
That's me.
It all depends on your psychology.
No, that's me. I've done it plenty of times. Not DMT, but shrooms and LSD. And after a few times, I was done. It was nice to experience, but it was when I did shrooms. I knew Hell's Angel. I still know them, but there was one member I knew. He had access to a grower, and he actually had different strains of shrooms. And I had shrooms, and I wasn't used to fresh stuff, which is more potent than, when they grow it, they sell somebody, and somebody sells it to somebody, and they sell it. And by the time it gets to the person that's going to use it, it's dried out and not as potent.
Right. Also, as it desiccates, right? If it's not properly stored. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I thought I was gonna die. Well, no, that's pretty much it. I thought I was gonna die, and that's like last time I had ounces of it, and I just sold it to friends, and like, hell yeah, I want it, and I just sold it like dirt cheap to them because I got it dirt cheap.
How long was your trip?
It sounds like you took too much.
Yeah, how long was your last trip, bro?
It was fresh.
How long was the trip though? When you felt like you were gonna die? Hours? Couple hours? Or what?
Hours?
6 hours? Damn.
I was in my bed with the TV on and wrapped up in a blanket, like this. I'm gonna die. And I did it a few times before that. I did it like good 5-6 different times before that, and I was just fine. But that last time when I got the most freshest stuff I ever had, I just assumed I was gonna take the same.
Oh, are those what I think those are, Guru Man?
Albino penis envy.
I was gonna say that looks like B plus. That looks like B plus to me, but okay.
Oh shit, those are shrooms.
What do you mean, B
Yes,
plus
they
grade?
are. Yes. Good observation.
No, that's real shit. No, I got, like I said, I got shrooms like fresh, like right after harvest, and they were barely dried out.
Oh, he's gonna start tripping now. He's gonna be tripping tonight. I see.
No, that shit scares me.
I must admit, every single time I did them, they are not very tasty though.
Oh my god!
No,
I love them. I love mushrooms.
It really tastes
I like mushrooms too, but not. I usually like to put them with peanut butter or something.
I do
Oh,
that
wow.
on, like cut them and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just eat them like salad.
Yeah. People grind them up, and I'm like,
yeah, you can add them to food.
You know what?
This
I
is how
actually
you eat
don't have a problem with the taste of them at all.
nibble on those motherfuckers.
Hey, speaking of that, it's so many people from
You kind of
you Chicago guys right now. Why is it
Yeah.
such a sacrilegious to use ketchup on your hot dog? Is that a thing?
Oh my god, are you? That's fucking blasphemy. You don't put unless you're 5 years old. You don't put ketchup on a hot dog.
But tomatoes okay though. Tomatoes okay though, right? Tomatoes okay.
You can put cement on a hot dog as long as it's not ketchup.
I prefer
There
mustard.
are restaurants. There are restaurants in Chicago that put up signs that say in the restaurant, "Do not ask for ketchup."
Wow.
It's bizarre, but it's actually considered like a social faux pas. I don't know what it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks
no,
for answering.
seriously,
I was wondering.
that's a thing here, guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't put ketchup on. If you're an adult, you don't put ketchup on a hot dog.
You mean sugar?
Because the
Chicago
nearest
dogs are
Chicagoan-
delicious.
Oh, I've had them before. They're
the
great.
nearest Chicagoan
With the
will
works,
come
with the
and
works. Yeah, man.
Yeah, the works I think is what is it? What are the works? Like celery salt, a long slice of what's it in Spanish? Pepino. What's that called?
sport pepper,
Yeah,
Peppercino.
sport
peppers,
relish,
spear
onions,
pickle,
a spear
It's a
pickle.
tomatoes, onions, and neon horseradish on a sesame bun.
And don't forget mustard.
yeah, poppy.
And
You need a
mustard.
poppy seed bun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
No, I can't do that. Otherwise, I'll test positive for
For
opiates.
heroin, huh?
Trace amounts anyway.
Sorry, Polska, but you were talking about the ketchup. I just had to throw it out there. They're so fucking good. When you get an authentic Chicago dog, it's something else.
Oh, it is.
Better than the toppings on it.
Yeah, I've had one before. I had to wait in line a long time. I think I went to one of the more famous places.
Did you go
Yeah.
to the Wiener Circle?
I know I was in the drive-thru like for almost like 45 minutes. I know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it a place renowned for the people, the employees there yell at you and hassle you and swear at you?
No, but that
That's
actually
not
happened to me. But people were yelling at people when I went to the Walgreens on Michigan Avenues. They were saying, "Step up,
Okay.
step up." Some crazy shit in
Okay.
Chicago, bro.
Yeah. We do it all right, except when it's really cold. But yeah. What is
Yeah.
that? I
And
can't-
then we turn in MAGA country and beat up.
That looks like some
big
sort of
black actors.
fish. Is that a fish? Yeah, it's a fish. Okay.
It's a bottle opener, man. It's so cool.
All right. Oh, blimey. Hello, Governor. What's all this then? It's
made
a
of
bottle
abalone.
opener.
It's really pretty.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Cool. What does that message say? It says vital message, some type of chemical that you wrote on there
Pouring the
on
line
your
right now.
on your screen right there. Mgtow Cowboy.
I was going to ask Guru man, do you, I'm assuming or I'm hoping at this point, do you make content? If so, I'd like to check out some of your channel.
Not really a content guy. I'm just one of those normal human beings that just.
Oh, he's being modest.
Okay, because homeboy, Blaxican here says you're prolific. I think what was the word you used? Prolific.
Prolific goat. That's the acronym, greatest of all time. In a niche area.
Okay. Can one of you guys, someone, once I end this stream, come back later, an hour later, tomorrow, within the next couple of days, and make sure I get the link to this guy's channel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would love to sub to his channel.
Mm.
We want to learn how to make DMT.
No, we want to expand our horizons.
Yeah, it's okay. That's one way to look at it.
Everything's in code around here.
Yeah. Cover your
Anyway,
bases. And your
anyway,
tracks.
I think I'm gonna end the stream, gentlemen. I will say this, Mgtow Savior. I'm sorry you came a little late. You were one of my designated interviewees. What happened, dog? You weren't tripping on shrooms again, were you? Oh, I think Savior's tripping on shrooms right now.
You can order this. You can order this online.
What is that? I don't see what I can't see what I'm looking at.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. This is called a vapor genie.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty common to smoke DMT out of. You vaporize your DMT out of.
Okay.
The whole box that comes with it. It's pretty spiffy. Put your type right in here.
Well, I can tell you're an authority on these matters.
Oh yeah. You want to see some
Yeah,
DMT?
which is
Oh,
why
yeah,
we want
for
to
sure.
sub to your channel.
Pull out my DMT.
Well, I apologize too. I was late. I was waiting for you guys to come on because I went on something else earlier. I was busy today.
Yeah.
And I
No, that's okay. That's okay. Remember, I'm off work. I'm off work Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if I don't catch you, I don't catch you this week, I'm always, next week.
tomorrow?
Is that a grinder? Is that oregano?
No, this is DMT.
Wait, what is that?
DMT.
That's hilarious.
That's DMT?
Yeah.
Yep.
No shit. No shit.
Cowboy, highlight Brian's comment
This guy reminds me of Merchant.
in Resident Evil 4. What are you having? What are you selling?
Okay.
What are you buying?
Okay.
I would never sell this.
I'm a gamer, so I get that
for
reference.
me. Oh my god, it smells like straight mothballs, bro.
Mhm.
Crazy.
Wow.
If you don't want to call it, you want to call it by the code name, you can call it Dimitri.
That's that Dimitri, yeah. But
Sure.
I got the
Walter White.
That's my nice unique mix, but I got the straight pure powder right here, the amber gold. Let me show you, it's so beautiful.
That's straight up Walter White right there, chemist.
There you
It's
go.
origin story, Walter White.
Breaking Bad, dude.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, origin story.
How it all gets started.
Right.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah. No, I see it. I can only imagine what it smells like.
Mothballs.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't often smell mothballs, but I associate mothballs with smelling bad.
No, it's like that stuff you put in your closet to make the moths
Yeah.
don't eat up your clothes.
Oh, right. Okay.
It smells just like it. It's that weird. There's another chemical for it. I forget. It's called like I forgot.
It tastes like plastic too when you smoke it a little bit.
It's kind of plasticky. But if you got
Yeah.
iron lungs from smoking a lot of weed, I mean.
Yeah.
You got iron lungs. Yes.
Hey man, Bay Area.
Yeah. Shout out.
I'm Bay Area too.
Hell yeah, man.
So
Cool.
I'm on the creek area. I used
Okay,
to,
East Bay, huh?
yeah, East Bay now. I used to live in San Jose for 7 years, and then I
Yeah, that's where I'm from. Then I moved to the East Bay, Oakland.
Yeah, I'm more like a half hour past that, a little bit past Walnut Creek.
Yeah,
Like-
do you know that DMT is legal in Oakland and also mushrooms?
Santa.
Wow. Really?
Yes,
Yeah, it's all
and
decreased.
Santa Cruz too.
That's another thing that I always find interesting. I'm sorry to sound so conspiratorial, but I think some of us were talking about earlier. I think that marijuana is you can call it like a deprogrammer. It gets people to think differently, and I think that the government they frown upon psychedelics especially, and that's why they. I think it's like the worst type of felony, like a class X felony.
Yeah,
Some of
it's
these
high.
psychedelics.
It's high.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't
But
like
if you,
them. You do
but
not
if
want
you
to be
want,
caught with those mushrooms.
but if you want to go like deep conspiracy theory, like you can say also like you have a point that's true. They don't want the masses taking them. However, at times throughout history, they use psychedelics to kind of co-opt the youth movement. You can say the Summer of Love and all that, the
I was
psychedelic
gonna
rock.
say like the hippie movement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grateful Dead.
Because who wants to pick up a rifle and revolt if you're fucking stoned out your mind in the seventh dimension?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at the legalization of pretty much across the board weed right now. I mean,
Hmm.
you can find the product absolutely anywhere. Here's the real fucked up part though. That the Delta 8 gummies that you can find pretty much anywhere now, that
Hmm.
the federal government is allowing to be put in any store so that they can collect taxation. All of those
Hmm.
Delta 8 gummies, when a well-known analytical, I think it was like a chemistry lab that just did all analytical testing, they pretty much said that all those Delta 8 gummies are not what they should be. There's about 30 unknown reactants left over that these companies are not distilling out. There should only be a Delta 8, a Delta 9, and a little bit of Delta 10 THC, but that's not what these gummies are. They've got a whole mixture of unknown things in them that definitely aren't healthy. But the government doesn't care because they're getting their tax money. You guys remember the pen a few years ago, the illegal vapor pens, the like
Yeah.
distillate THC pens, when those like 26 kids died? You guys remember
Yeah.
those stories?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my whole theory on this particular event. Now, for about 2 to 3 years, there was that company called Dank Vape. They were like the black market vape that was being pushed across the country, originating out of California, I believe. Now, you got to ask yourself, if for 3 years the black market didn't have any overdoses by any means, how is it that within a short time span, 26 kids, miraculously all die due to the same vitamin E poisoning? It's as if these 26 kids had 26 different drug dealers that had 26 different couriers that had 26 different labs that they were getting it from across the country, and those labs use the same cutting agent. No, I think the government went and checked the statistics at the dispensaries, and what did they come to find? That the vapor pens were selling 28 times more than the dab concentrates, and they're looking at this shit like, wow, 28 times, and this black market enterprise, it has the lion's share of the market. So what do they got to do? They literally have to they have to come up with a way to scare the public so that no one would ever buy a black market pen again. I think that the government is the one who poisoned these kids. Somehow, some way, they were able to get their hands on. This is my theory. I think they got their hands on some empty carts. They put carts that had this poisoning in them, the empty ones, and then the black market enterprises picked up the carts like they usually do. They filled them up with their chopped distillate. They send them across the country, and randomly, all these kids have the same vitamin E poisoning. It doesn't make any sense besides taxation purposes. So they will fucking fuck with us to the point where we think that there's this black market enterprise killing kids, but why didn't that black market enterprise kill kids for 3 years straight when the majority of the market was the black market?
Well, I can tell you what, I worked at 3 different dispensaries, and especially years ago, I got my
It
club
sounds
card.
like Real Talk needs some weed.
I got my club card 2011. It was legal. All you do was pay $50 a year, and it was dirt cheap to go to clubs. I've worked at 3 different dispensaries, and I could tell it was all bad when they were trying to legalize it. And it's like, it's already legal. And people didn't want to get the club card because they didn't want to be in the system. It's like, what's going to happen? It's legal for you to smoke weed when you get your fucking your MMJ, medical marijuana license. Is legal. $50 a year. Why do you have to vote for it to go from medical to legal when you can go to any office and with no issues, not like you're dying or you have cancer? They'll give you it, and then people are voting for it to be actually legal when it already is. The only incentive is for the government.
Exactly.
Right.
The tax.
Wildman Ganja. Can I randomly ask you? Have you ever tried colloquially called hippie crack, nitrous?
Not in a lot. Not a lot. Only a little bit. Only just to see
Okay.
what it was like.
What are your opinions on that? I hear
that stuff's bad.
is that stuff bad? Is that stuff bad for you? Wah 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 wah.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
well,
man, you're
that's a
fucking with
weird
me, man.
one. I mean, the only thing, like, I mean, here it's funny. Like, I definitely have seen friends who've done in super hardcore amounts of it, and they're fine to this day. They don't really have brain damage. They're good. But when they were doing it, when you get high on it, you're definitely like, you're gone. Yeah, you're like, wah, you're out of it. But when you're under it, there's something really interesting about it. And if you look into it, like Hamilton Morris Pharmacopoeia, he's talking about nitrous and xenon gas and the correlations. And there's a distinct psychedelicness to it. It's definitely its own high. And I wouldn't recommend. It's not like weed. You don't just smoke it every day, but to experience that out of body consciousness that you can get on a macro dose of it is kind of a thing, and it's very, very euphoric, and it makes you laugh and giggle. It's like a pain-free, euphoric experience. So it's something you can go for without worrying. It's not like DMT where you're like, oh shit, I prepare to die. It's
Okay.
It's like
what's
prepared to
what's your
get really,
favorite?
really high and feel really nice.
What's your favorite drug? Wildman Ganja.
Favorite drug?
Yeah. What drug do you use the most?
Well, shit. I mean, I think the way you're saying drug, I would have to say just cannabis, smoking weeds. You can do that all day,
Sure.
every day, and it's just real nice. But
You smoke pot? You smoke pot every day?
oh yeah, man.
When I smoked pot, what I found is I did not like smoking it every day because I felt like it didn't hit me hard. Like my tolerance would go up. But if I only smoked it like once every 3 days or 4 days, I enjoyed it more, or it hit me harder, or something like that.
Well, it definitely hits you harder if you take a break. Yeah, but I mean, you can still yeah, there's tolerance, and your body builds a tolerance to it. But I don't not get high when I smoke every day. I mean, I feel it, and I ingest it, and I take large quantities of it. It's amazing. So it's just a matter of what your body's using it for and how healthy it is for you. I mean, like, I'm an athlete, so like for me, I'm not worried too much about anything hurting me. It only aids me, and when I smoke, it's just pure meditation. It strengthens my mind, strengthens my body. It only keeps me going, and it just keeps me in contact with like a spiritual essence that feels like real in tune with like the game that's going on with life itself. Like, everybody's got their own avatar, and we're in this video game matrix, and sometimes it's nice to like know what you're doing, but sometimes it's so nice to be in the dream world and not know what you're doing. And there's a balance and a give or take, and smoking weed keeps you perfectly balanced. Like, sometimes it's like, all right, this is the time where you're like ultra mindful. Now it's time to be just meditative and relax and have a good time. Let life be life. But it gives you a definite mindfulness of being in the now, being in the moment.
I hear you. And speaking of now, unfortunately, I do have to end the stream now. I can go longer, but I unfortunately, Bob, you got to get going, right?
Yeah, I gotta get going.
Polska Bob needs to go. He does work in the morning. I am his ride. I'm the designated driver because he did want to drink. And Polska Bob, many DUIs can attest to his desire to not.
We just won, allegedly.
It was just one. It was just
beat it.
It was just one recently. Okay, but regardless, I'm his designated driver. So I'm going to bid you all adieu. It was a pleasure, and please, if one of you in the future, if you can drop me a link to Mr. Wildman Ganja, I wouldn't mind taking a look. You sound like you have a lot of interesting stuff. Mgtow forever. I'm sorry I was not able to get to you. I think next week, Tuesday and Thursday. I'm sorry.
It's my fault. I passed out. I was
No, it's all right.
left. I'm like, I'll watch some TV and lay down, and I laid down and never woke up until 9:30. And I'm, oh fuck, I missed it.
No, it's okay. It's perfectly okay. But we'll reschedule for next week. Real talk. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that you and Farmer were not getting along very well. But yeah,
no,
and
it's all
kind of
good.
fun,
No,
though. Real talk.
Yeah. No, it's good to hear other perspectives. But what was that terminology you used for weed when you said a little bit ago? I wanna give, if I use that in the future, I want to give you credit because I haven't heard that. You said it was like like the process, the enlightenment process, something along those lines, like how the government didn't want us to have weed. What did you say there again?
Oh yeah, no, I prefer the term deprogramming. I think it deprograms you. I think people are deeply programmed, and then when you use certain drugs, it whatever you want to call it, I prefer that term. It deprograms you. It gets you questioning things essentially. And then some percentage of those people, they can go on to question other things, and then that can lead them to independent thought and critical thinking and so on and blah 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 blah, you know, and so on and so forth. Let's see, Blackstick, thank you very much for coming. Maybe if you're a Mgtow guy, I would not any red pill and Mgtow guys. My shtick lately is I'm sorry. Okay, Bob is indicating to me we got to get going now.
No. I'm typing in the chat. Go ahead.
Blackstick, I'm sorry. I have to get going. If you're a Mgtow or red pill guy, I'd like to let me get at you. Maybe I can interview you as well, gentlemen. I'm sorry, I have to.
I'm a guy. Check out my channel, Black Skin in Taiwan. I'm a guy. I like the black pill. I like the red pill. I like
okay.
Mgtow. It's all good.
You're black pill. You're black pill.
I'm me. No, I'm me, bro. Like I respect all those subcategories, but I'm a man.
Okay.
But yeah.
Can you do me a favor when you get when you get an opportunity? Can you drop a link once I end this? Go back into the video and in the comment section, just leave a link to your channel.
For sure, and check out the self-made Discord too, Cowboy. I really like your show. I like how you run it.
I thank you very much. Again, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I try to. The only problem is I only have 20 hours a week. I may end up just start paying, and so I can get more hours. But we'll see. Okay, gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much. We're ending it now, and that's it. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Peace. Have a good one, guys.
Wildman Ninja.
Come on.
Yeah, good to see you, man.